Thank you, Fizzle.
Smooth, what's good, baby?
I was in the field getting more bread than Sarah Lee. Most of the niggas hating on my comments is scared of me. You really left the house and what are those? That's embarrassing. She like, Ralph, you can do one thing, can you care for me? I was in the field getting more bread than Sarah Lee. Most of the niggas hating on my comments is scared of me. You really left the house and what are those? That's embarrassing. She like, Ralph, you can do one thing, can you care for me? You don't want a nigga like me, I'm embarrassed. Trifling niggas sliding your friends DM on careless shit. You look broke as fuck, I wouldn't even wear that shit. I don't like to be around bums, cause all they do is stare at my wrist. Pretty broke, poor ass bum, beware of that bitch. I just want your money and guns, I swear that's it. I ain't come from trust fund, I'm a baby kid. I was really in the trenches, I'm trying to change the way I live. Don't need the praises, things we done change the way y'all live. Wasn't rockin' Mason Margiela, niggas was rockin' Dickies. We saved y'all niggas from buying all them swap me pieces. Don't be mad at Pastor Robert, that's the facts that I be preaching. Once the game is on, it's time to play ball, that's how I be beefing. I don't sip Patron, I like codeine, that's what I be drinking. Steak, shrimp, and lobster, and cheddar potatoes is I be eating. I don't believe nothing that come out of bitch mouth, cause talk is cheap. I was in the field getting more bread than Sarah Lee. Most of the niggas hating on my comments is scared of me. You really left the house and what are those? That's embarrassing. She like, Ralph, you can do one thing, can you care for me? I was in the field getting more bread than Sarah Lee. Most of the niggas hating on my comments is scared of me. You really left the house and what are those? That's embarrassing. She like, Ralph, you can do one thing, can you care for me?
Damn shame, I done had this cake longer than my bitch. On the net you say I'm capping, these streets you need a wish. I was a semi-auto bandit till I linked up with a switch. Grown ass thug, baby Drakey in the crib. Don't feel no pressure on this bitch, niggas shaky where you live. Ain't just the ops you gotta watch, niggas snaking where I live. Was in the class for a day, them niggas janky over there. Yeah, we caught him around here, but we spanked him over there. Yeah, nigga bought paper, ain't no staples up in here. K rounds ain't take him out, but it stuck him in a chair. The way we steppin' out, bring it to a bear. Another nigga dressed up, somebody show him what to wear. Got my ear to the streets, it always tell me what to hear. Don't need no glasses on my face, show a nigga that I fear. I got my ops and they feelings, make they ass shed tears. And a rifle from Big 5, but I ain't poppin' at no deers.
I was in the field getting more bread than Sarah Lee. Most of the niggas hating on my comments is scared of me. You really left the house and what are those? That's embarrassing. She like, Ralph, you can do one thing, can you care for me? I was in the field getting more bread than Sarah Lee. Most of the niggas hating on my comments is scared of me. You really left the house and what are those? That's embarrassing. She like, Ralph, you can do one thing, can you care for me? Told you I only want your money, I wasn't trying to do you shady. Kicked around, she live 8 miles.
Lariano. Thank you, Fizzle.
Smooth, what's good, baby?
Don't make me say niggas masked up like Jason. That's crazy, niggas working with the porks, I smell bacon. Bitch pay me, but would I let you fuck, bitch maybe? I told you I only want your money, I wasn't trying to do you shady. Don't make me say niggas masked up like Jason. That's crazy, niggas working with the porks, I smell bacon. Bitch pay me, but would I let you fuck, bitch maybe? I told you I only want your money, I wasn't trying to do you shady. Kicked around, she live 8 miles away, I did her shady. I like when bitches hit my phone randomly with payments. You thought I was going broke, you sadly mistaken. Thuggin' on 32nd, Naomi with gang in it. If you ever see the plug box low, some know I stay equipped. I ain't talking about the ops, cause none of them niggas taking trips. Too focused, only thing I know is stay away from the pigs. I'm from the stink tin, you can't change the way I live. A lot of these niggas don't know what patience is. A boat just landed, my plug car with a gang of trysts. A boat just landed, a 30 piece for the plainest wrist. The truth, a real nigga, most of these rappers a gang of pretenders. Tasmanian devils, I be round a gang of spinners. I'm from the stink team, bitch, you see it's a gang of winners. We're artistic in the booth to paint the picture. While your bitch got that shit on her lip, it ain't safe to kiss her. Don't make me say niggas masked up like Jason. That's crazy, niggas working with the porks, I smell bacon. Bitch pay me, but would I let you fuck, bitch maybe? I told you I only want your money, I wasn't trying to do you shady. Don't make me say niggas masked up like Jason. That's crazy, niggas working with the porks, I smell bacon. Bitch pay me, but would I let you fuck, bitch maybe? I told you I only want your money, I wasn't trying to do you shady.
I remember when my nigga got taken. I slid back so I was training while she baking. Sweet be acting up, what the fuck that nigga taking? They don't know about this life, they be faking. I pray to God, but in my dreams I see Satan. I put her with a mask like Jason. Put her with a mask, I had your big homie shaking. I remember I fucked this bitch in her basement. I like walk, boy, and I need trees. Everybody hit, I feel like Chris. I tell all my little homies to go and take a risk. You niggas only been on school trips. I ain't never went to school, I was robbing shit. Tell me what you need, I got a lot of it. Me and Ralph, we gon' pull it with a lot of clips. Wanna start beef, you gon' wanna be out of it.
Don't make me send niggas masked up like Jason. That's crazy, niggas working with the porks, I smell bacon. Bitch, pay me, but would I let you fuck, bitch, maybe? I told you I only want your money, I wasn't tryna do you shady. Don't make me send niggas masked up like Jason. That's crazy, niggas working with the porks, I smell bacon. Bitch, pay me, but would I let you fuck, bitch, maybe? I told you I only want your money, I wasn't tryna do you shady.
We Japanese still. You getting cooked in front of your family like a Japanese meal. It's Yashuba Hibachi, and none of you niggas can stop me. Yo, man, we got a video for you guys to examine today. When I tell you guys that Ron Dalton embarrassed himself and embarrassed everybody that claimed to be Hebrew Israelites, man, he sat down with David Rohl. Well, he was on a video conference pretty much, or on a live stream, and he joined the live stream, and David Rohl pretty much opened the floor for questions, and the brother was not even posing any questions towards David Rohl. All he was doing was trying to spin his narrative and spew his rhetoric, bro. We got to do better, man. If you're on the stage with someone like an archaeologist or David Rohl, come on, man. At least have the decency to pose a question and try to glean something, you know what I'm saying? Get some jewels from the man. You know, the man is making a lot of claims. The man is saying that he can give evidence for Joseph. He can give evidence for the Exodus narrative, that the Egyptian chronology should be revised. And you, being a racist Black Hebrew Israelite, took that as a chance to spread your Black only doctrine. And I felt like it was embarrassing. He did academia a disservice, he did the community a disservice, and it was embarrassing. It was all around embarrassing. So you guys are going to see. It gets, just sit there when the clips disperse, but don't leave yet because the shit gets worse. Avery, any statements you want to say about this video, man, that we're about to have the
all I gotta say is J1 is Ishmael. That means Abraham's J1. J1 confirmed for the Israelites. Boom, I win.
Right. Well, we went over Ron Dalton's terrible book, last year. And within that book, he makes the claim that Ishmael is J1. And if Ishmael is J1, then that would mean Abraham would have to be J1, and the rest of his children and the rest of his progeny have to be downstream markers of J1. And for some reason, the light bulb hasn't clicked inside of Ron Dalton's head that IBD is a thing. DNA transmission is a thing. The only way you can get a Y chromosome marker is from a man. Yeah, Abu. It's crazy. It makes no sense. How can Jacob be E1, B1A? And not just, and then the 12 tribes. We don't even want to get, do we want to get into that, Avery, tonight? Who he thinks the 12 tribes are?
Trans haplogroups. And by the way, yes, I do want to get into that tonight. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna load his book up because he got one tribe being haplogroup H and some Israelites being haplogroup R, and it just does not work that way.
This is why we have to also, my bad, I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is why we also have to tackle the topic of my true ancestry and break that down in the future as well when it comes to what it's actually saying, because people are saying, oh, we have multiple haplogroups in our DNA. No, we need to actually address that as well in the future.
Right. And Ron Dalton makes claims that, haplogroups don't show you, and I've heard Teo them say this and echo this sentiment. It does not show you a line of descent, but it shows you geography pretty much. migration patterns, migratory routes. Um, that's far from the truth. You can use Y-DNA to, plot out a migratory route, but to say that it doesn't use lineage, that's exactly what Y-DNA shows you. It's passed down, unbroken chain from father to son. It changes through downstream mutations, but that's it, downstream mutations. Now you have the rare back mutation, but it's very rare. All right. My son will inherit my Y chromosome DNA, was EU290. And if it mutates along subsequent generations, it will only produce downstream clades of that. Right? That's basic science. That's genetics 101. So what Ron Dalton is teaching is a confabulation. It's I don't even know how to describe it, brother. It's a misconception. It's disinformation because I think he should know better. Claiming to be in the medical field, claiming to be an expert of DNA, and taking it seriously. I think he should know better, right? Ivory, what's your opinion on that?
I think I 100% agree. He should know better at this point. Like, I remember when I was getting into DNA, I was in my late teens. I was in high school. And like everybody else, I started off just with the basics of slowly learning it. Oh, what is a haplogroup? A Y-DNA haplogroup? It's passed down from father to son. What populations typically have, let's say, E1B1A, West Central Africans? What populations that the Pygmies, what's their haplogroup? A and B markers, stuff like that. And so it's like, after a while, it becomes very, very basic, and you start learning more, and it gets easier and easier over time. If he's been doing this since before I got into DNA, again, when I was in high school, he should be an expert. He should know this off the back of his, but he's mixing things up so much to the point. It's like, is he actually reading this, or is he purposefully trying to make something up? Because one thing I notice about him is that he tries to use the haplogroups and connect it to skin tone. That's why he believes H and R and stuff like that are part of the Shemitic family. Is if you're black and you have haplogroup J, if you're black and you have haplogroup R, then you have to be from Shem or Ham or something like that. It's a skin tone thing. And I don't know why he does this. And he's been studying DNA for like decades now. And I've only been doing it for maybe less than a decade.
Yeah, and he's not alone. He's not alone. Nathaniel T. Jeanson. I've lost a lot of respect for Nathaniel T. Jeanson with his latest book known as Traced. He pretty much does the same thing that Abu is saying Dalton is doing, right? He invokes skin tone. Because think about it. And Nathaniel Jeanson, in his latest book, he pretty much says everybody that he thinks has a Negro quality, like haplogroup H amongst the Dravidians, and
C with the Australians.
C with the Australians, A and B Paleo Africans, of course. E, we always get thrown the Hamite lineage. That's always thrown on us. So he says A, B, D, C, E. I think he even said F.
He definitely said G. I know that.
Yeah, he even said G. He said they were all Hamites. So, we got a scorch earth policy here and pretty much, denounce all of these pseudos and debunk all of these pseudos. Because, again, it's not a genetic argument anymore. They're trying to make it a morphology argument. And, Jeanson, you should be ashamed of yourself because you're a master geneticist. You got your master's.
Didn't he study at like Harvard or something?
He studied at Harvard. For him to botch the phylogenetic tree like that is just embarrassing, right?
The only thing I can give him is the 3 nodes when it comes to like the mitochondrial stuff, but that's it. Like, that's all I can give him.
I agree with his assessment of E1B1 being maybe the impetus for the Islamic expansion.
That too, yeah.
But what he wrote in the book Trace is hogwash. I'm reading this thing and I'm like disheartened. Like, I can't refer to this guy anymore. Like, this is just atrocious. All right. So I'm going to show you guys a page from this guy's work, and it's clearly Ron Dalton-esque, if you will. But he does say I and J2 are Japhet, albeit the only people that he plots on the Japhetic lineage is I, J1, J2. That's it.
A very, very small lineage of people, considering that Japheth had more sons and grandsons compared to Shem and Ham.
Right. What's going on, Sean? What Sean we got tonight? We got Shawn Michaels or Sean Hannity?
I don't know whichever one y'all want me to be. Shalom to the family. What's going on, everybody?
Shalom.
I'm still out and about. I'm at Spectrum trying to take care of some business, but I'm in the building.
All right, man. We appreciate you, brother, coming through, man. We might need both lineages tonight. We might need the Hannity side and the Shawn Michaels, chin checking motherfuckers tonight, man. We might need both sides tonight.
I'm in the building, baby. I'm in the building.
Let's bring more up in here too, because this is a DNA subject. So let's get
more. Let me drop the link, man. No, Lance, if you out there, bro, don't come on here, man. If you're gonna give a long, drawn out presentation tonight, we're trying to stick to the agenda tonight, man.
Actually, I want Abu up here too, if he's still there. Since
Abu, you want to come up here? Give you two.
Yeah, Abu, come on up, bro. Come on up.
Wait till y'all see this. Well, you guys already saw it because I shared it with you guys, but for the audience here, this is Nathaniel Jeans's latest work, Trace Human DNA Big Surprise. And this is page 371. And he clearly states here the link between haplogroup E and possibly A and B in Egypt and Ethiopia intimidates that haplogroup H, G, F, C, B, A, and E are all descendants of Ham. That's Nathaniel Jeanson saying that. Okay, Abu, we understand. I appreciate it, Jay. Appreciate it, man. We will use that. It's another book I'm about to get. It's volume 5 of the Oxford Handbook of Judaism, volume 5, and the Spread of Islam. So that's my next investment on the book I'm going to be, investing in. So as you guys can see, Nathaniel Jeanson is teaching that E, H, G, F, C, B, A, and E are all descendants of Ham. This doesn't make any sense.
Where did he get that from? His whole model has switched up on us, so it's crazy. I'm dumbfounded right now. He went extremely left.
It certainly begs the question: where does J separate off from G and F? That would have to be the immediate question, and basically all the other lineages he has in Shem, like where did they break off precisely? I don't know if he's answered that question in his book. I haven't looked.
It's weird. I can only assume that he's doing the same thing that Ron Dalton is doing, which is, how do these people look? Because when you look at with H, I think he's comparing them to the Dravidians, and then C is found amongst the Australian Aborigines. So it's like, are you looking at these people and saying, okay, all black people are descendants of Ham? Is that the message that you're disseminating here? I'm not understanding. What's going on, Moore?
I'm checking out this new haplogroup alphabet soup science that's a thing of the rage right now.
Yeah, so he has Japhet as being I, J1, J2, which those three clades are descendants of F, right? And G is a descendant of F, but for some reason he's making G, F, and C all descendants of Ham. It just, you can't reconcile this. It makes zero sense.
All the dark skinned people.
And then he has
dark skin.
Yeah.
Yo, this isn't a book, fam?
This is his latest book called Traced.
Yo. It's getting serious. See, you see why I pulled y'all up. I was like, where the book at? Where y'all book at? Where y'all book? Bruh.
A
Because
book
if y'all don't
by
write
a
books,
man from Harvard.
they gonna write books saying this stuff right here. You feel me? Like, I'm mad at y'all for letting this happen right now.
He beat us to it. He beat us to it.
No, man, because now you're gonna have certain people, like, you know what I'm saying, shout out to the Iceman Israelites or whatnot, talking about, you know what I'm saying, and other people talking about, oh, you can have multiple haplogroups. See, you can have multiple haplogroups. It's like, oh man, this is gonna be bad.
Yeah, we are having.
We're gonna have to do a live on that too. Well, we're gonna have to do a live on that. Straighten that one out.
I'm just confused by the fact that people can just like go on Google and type in like what is a haplogroup or have a YouTube video explain it. Like it's not that difficult.
Yo, Shari got the series popping off and whatnot, but it's so people don't want, so this is lookership, not scholarship, right? Like people don't want to do the research. Most people don't want to do the research. Most people want to be told the summary of the research, right? They want to be told what it is, right? Like they want to take notes. They don't want to do actual research and whatnot. Like y'all are not the average, you know what I'm saying? Like y'all like to sit down and read studies and all kind of like for fun. You feel me? Like most people don't do that stuff for school. You know? But that's why, you know what I'm saying, we gotta cop a couple more hibachis right quick and serve up these Japanese meals, you know what I'm saying? Because this is becoming an epidemic of ignorance at this juncture, fam.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to reconcile. It's irreconcilable at this point. Like you can't teach this. There's no way to defend this. It's just I don't even know how to explain it.
I wonder if we could ever get him on the show, like, so we can talk to him about this, Dr. Nathaniel Jensen, because I like to know how he came up with this. I am like genuinely curious about it.
Can he even be reached? How does someone reach out to him? That's
I think he might have an email. He's appeared on a couple of people's YouTube channels, like Christian channels. I have to see. I might be able to. I know he has a Facebook account. I know he has that.
Hey, Avery, you want to answer this?
Let's see. If you're absolutely new to DNA testing, it's rocket science. Even after you do the research, it's still.
If you're absolutely new to DNA testing, it's rocket science. Even after they do the research, it's still not user-friendly info on the web.
Well, I've been in it for so long. For me, I guess I'll say it's not rocket science, but I don't know. I feel like I don't know, man. I don't know if I can fully agree with that because I was pretty young when I was learning this. I was on my own.
Ebri, my G. There's grown people who got 20, 30 years on you in mass, in large, in hundreds and alive, buying the concept of you can have multiple haplogroups.
Bro, that's what I mean. Like, I don't, like, I feel like.
So are you the average or are they the average?
I guess I'm the average.
No, you're not the
average.
No,
I mean, not the average.
You're abnormal, fam. Yeah. They're the average. You're abnormal. Marcus Brown, you're 100% correct. I'm gonna do my best to get my young man Ebri on the ball. You know what I'm saying? Let him know that he is not the average, and that he needs to help raise the average. You know what I'm saying?
He's being humble. You know how he get more.
No, Ebri being dead serious because like he sits in like he swims in this stuff. He washes dishes in this stuff, fam. You know what it is, man. Like so he talks this like man. He's a young dude teaching us stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Like so that's what I'm saying. Like to him, this is like that's normal with that. No, fam, that's not normal, fam. Like you're teaching people who study stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like so that's why what y'all do is so important and whatnot. And shout out to y'all for like continually serving them Japanese meals because a lot of people don't know this information the way y'all know this information, right? And they're not trying to tie it to the biblical model like you're trying to. And so, one, like what you're showing on the screen in terms of what you were showing on the screen in terms of like the multiple haplogroup concept by Jensen and other people, like that's just crazy based upon science. But then when you try to apply it to the Bible, it becomes even more problematic because you just muddy up the thing and whatnot. Like the whole table of nations becomes super muddy. So shout out to y'all for clarifying things day after day after day after day. And he agreed, just understand, for the mere fact that you got to do it day after day after day after day, just know it's not normal, fam. Like that's why it's incumbent upon those that know to raise the bar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm thinking I might have classes or something on DNA, just simple DNA terminology, like, what is a haplogroup, what is autosomal DNA. I might do that on Clubhouse so that people can kind of understand this stuff. In the next 2 weeks, I'm going to have my Table of Nations video coming out, so people can kind of understand our model. It's a journey. We're getting there. We're getting there. And I will be having that book soon as well.
All right. You ready to unpack Ron Dalton?
Yeah, let's hear Professor David Rohl.
Oh God.
Physically cringe as he
talks.
This
is a terrible clip. I don't.
It's funny, but it's cringy. I don't know. It's in that category of like a good type, like a bad good type of cringe. I don't know. Y'all see what I mean?
It's like, why would you even do this? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you get on here, interrupt this man's presentation to come in here and give your blackology that nobody asked for.
I was about to say the same thing. If that isn't identity politics, I what he was spitting, it was crazy. I couldn't believe that he barged in the way he did and just spewing. And it was like, let's play it. I don't want to give it. Let's play it.
No, but go into it, man. Go into it. Pulling up the clip now.
I think the craziest thing overall, and I'm just going to go ahead and spoil this part, but David Rohl actually says if the Israelites are Africans, I'm fine with it. That should have ended the whole conversation, but it didn't. I think you're in the Matrix, Sean, or is that me? I don't know.
Yeah, he's
more.
In the Matrix.
Abu, can you hear us? Or?
No, he in the Matrix.
Okay.
All right. Shalom to Rich Lucas. Yeah, shout out to my EU 290 brother. You guys know who this is. All right, brother. All right, let's get into this clip, man, because I couldn't stomach watching it the first time, so this is, by definition, torture.
It's easier when you're with more people, huh?
So I'm gonna let you navigate this, man. I'm gonna try to chime in here and there. This is just idiotic at some point. So I believe he comes in the video around the 30-minute markers when we start seeing him.
Yeah, about right there. Yeah.
All right.
And also Jacob's sheep, which is so-called the northern Syrian type of sheep. But now we're going to get Professor Rohl back and just make sure that we can hear him. And so we can move on. Can we hear you?
I hope so. Can
Absolutely.
You? Yeah, okay. And what I've got to do quickly is just get the presentation back now. I won't be a second. I'll try and find it very quickly.
Hallelujah. Well,
yes.
We have one of my colleagues also, brother from another mother. His name is Ronald Dalton Jr. And so this is a good opportunity for me to say that Professor David Rohl has books, and our moderators are advertising them. But also I want to let you know that we have two other authors. One of them is Brother Ronald Dalton Jr., who is very much into the blood works and stuff like that. And he has done an incredible series that is titled, go for it, sir. Introduce yourself. Hebrews 2.
Wake Up Black America.
All right.
Is that an American accent I'm hearing?
Yes, one American.
Fantastic. Well done. Are you dialing in from the States?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant.
He's dialing in. So now back to you for part 3.
Okay. I'm sorry I missed your little conversation while I was away trying to fix everything, but that's the way it goes, I suppose.
Yeah,
Right.
we're just filling in the time for you.
Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Can we tell me if you've got it?
Will do once I see it.
Once you see it, and that's just about now. Yeah.
Alrighty.
If I go into play mode, you get the glorious full width of the screen. Okay, are you seeing that clearly?
Yes, absolutely.
Hello? Okay, right. Let's move on. So we're going to look at the evidence for Joseph in that city of Avaris in the eastern delta of Goshen. And remember, this is towards the end of the Middle Bronze Age we're talking about now, not the end of the Late Bronze Age when Ramesses II is knocking about. This is much earlier than that. Okay, so what the archaeologists found, and this is a reconstruction of it, was a palace in this location. Now, this palace is of Egyptian design, but everything we learn about this palace tells us that the person that was living in it was a Semite. He was not an Egyptian. He was a Semitic person. Okay, so that's the reconstruction. What you have, if I show you the plan, is at the front you have two identical apartments, which are mirror shaped over that blue area you've got there. And then the older part of the palace is the orange area you see at the back there with the 4 columns in the audience chamber. To the top is a storeroom. To the bottom of that chamber there is a big bedroom. And behind it to the left, we have a washroom and a cloakroom, a place where the dignitary who lived in this palace actually dressed and had audiences with people. Now, what we find about this palace is very interesting, because when we look at the residents of it, we see that there's a courtyard inside the palace, which was the original facade. Count the number of pillars you see there. You see 12 pillars. That we think is because of the 12 tribes. In other words, one represented each of the tribes, those pillars. In the back of the garden of the palace, which you see on the left there, this is a model constructed by the archaeologists. You'll notice there are a series of tombs with palm trees in front of them. Count them. There are 12 of them. And the most important one is the pyramid tomb, number 12 there. Now, that one we're going to look at in more detail. You can see it now from above. You can see where that pyramid tomb is located at the back of the garden. Now, he seems to have been the person, according to the archaeology, who lived in this palace. And it looks like the part of the palace which was extended at the front with the 2 identical suites, if you like, or houses or apartments, were probably for his 2 sons. And as you probably will know, of course, Ephraim and Manasseh were the 2 sons of Joseph. What that grave looks like when we dig into it, and you can see only the foundations here because the rest of it's been ploughed away by the Sebaki and the farmers who have literally used this material as fertilizer. So they've dug it all away, and what we're left with is just the foundations of this pyramid tomb. With at the front there, you have a chapel area on the right-hand side, and then underneath the pyramid, you have a platform, and beneath the ground, you have a mud brick chamber, which was domed, but it's a rectangular chamber with a dome on it. And you'll see in the middle there, roughly, slightly to the right, you'll see some objects, which I'm going to show you in more detail in a second. When they dug down, the archaeologists from Austria dug down into this burial chamber, what they turned up was a few broken fragments of stone, which you can see collected there, some chippings, if you like, and then this strange thing that was located between the chapel and the burial chamber. It somehow or other, it found its way from the chapel into the area that goes down into where the tunnel was, where they entered the burial chamber of the tomb. So here you see a guy in a blue galabea in the corner of the burial chamber looking towards the chapel, and you can see that object there and the broken slabs of stone or bits of stone on the right-hand side there. That's what we're going to look at in more detail. Looking back in the other direction, you see those fragments, the large fragments of stone in the foreground. Look at the burial chamber. There's only 3 smaller pieces of the same limestone in the burial chamber. There's nothing else in there. No pottery, no grave goods, no mummy, no coffin, nothing, absolutely nothing in there. And if you look at that dark patch there, that is actually a tunnel which was dug from the chapel at the front where this object was located down into the burial chamber. And whoever did that cleaned it out. They actually took everything away, including the coffin and the body inside the coffin. Now, if you're a grave robber, you don't steal the bones of the person who's buried there. You simply rifle the tomb and carry away all the treasure. You do not take the coffin and the body with you. That only happens in special circumstances and normally with reverence. If you're removing a body and a coffin out of there, try to think of the story of Joseph and you begin to realize what's happening at this particular grave. When you piece together those objects that were found in the chapel, between the chapel and the tomb, what we have is the top half of a statue. You can see that the face has been completely smashed off. The eyes have been gouged out, and somebody's tried to hack through the head with an axe, and you can see the great chip at the top there, the crack where they tried to cut the head into 2. If we look at it in more detail, you can see that the haircut you've got there, you can see how the axe has penetrated to try and smash the skull into pieces. And notice that the paintwork on this is red-headed. You can see the red hair paintwork, and also that you have yellow to brown skin on the forehead, located just where the above the eyebrow of the statue. When we look at his shoulder, he's carrying a scepter of office, which is a throw stick, which is very similar to a boomerang, which was the traditional hunting implement in the Delta, but it also is the symbol of what we call a Western Asiatic or a Semite. In other words, it's a Semitic weapon, which is used here by this person, this dignitary, as his scepter of office, if you like. He's obviously a very, very important person. He was buried in a pyramid tomb. He lived in a great palace at the city of Avaris, and he must have therefore been a very high official of state in the Egyptian government at the time. If we look at the back shoulder of the statue, the fragments of paint that still remain can be highlighted. If you look very carefully, and I'm going to highlight them, you can see we have stripes of red, black, and white, vertical stripes, and around the collar, horizontal stripes. So this guy had a coat of many colors as well. He was actually shown in his statue wearing a coat of many colors. So he's a high official of state, a Semite, who is living in Egypt, who has got a palace in the land of Goshen, in the city where all the Israelites were located, and his tomb is left empty. Somebody entered into the tomb at some point in time and removed the body, took it away. And when you reconstruct the statue, this is how it looks. It's a traditional statue of a vizier of Egypt, a chancellor, if you like, or the second in command of the country. And you can see he's wearing a multicolored coat. So I'll come out of this now, and we'll see, we'll get some conversation going. So there we go. Can you see me? Can you hear me still?
Absolutely.
Right. So there you go. What are you going to make of that?
Hey guys, anyone want to ask any?
Now he gave his presentation. He showed evidence what could point towards to a plausible Joseph, right? Colorful garment, that he lived in a palace, that he had a high position in ancient Egypt, and the 12 pillars could represent the 12 tribes. Just listen to what Ron Dalton takes this conversation. It makes no sense. Why not speak on the things that he presented? Like, this is amazing stuff. This could be proving out the biblical narrative. And Ron Dalton makes this about blackology.
Race.
Any questions? Please take the mic now.
I mean, I got a lot of questions I could ask. I don't know what the appropriate question would be in regards to. Is this more than one presentation? Is this part 3 or is this the first part?
This is part 3. He's going through section by section, and this bit is about Joseph, but he's moving towards entering into the land of Israel, or Canaan, as it would have been then.
Okay, so today I have a lot of questions, because when I do my studies, I like to see people that can be connected to ancient Egypt by way of language, by way of DNA, maternal DNA, and DNA from the mother, and also the traditions and customs. So when you look at a lot of the Bantus people in sub-Saharan Africa, they have a lot of remnants of the ancient Egyptian language in their language, and they also have remnants of their ancient Egyptian traditions and customs, more so Hebrew traditions and customs, traditions and customs.
Avery, what is he doing right now, man? What he's bringing up Bantu, linguistic similarity he's invoking. What does it have to do with what this man just presented with Joseph, possibly finding a historical statue that can line up with a biblical figure? What does it have to do with that?
Yeah, he goes completely off subject.
Yeah, hey, it's true. Why don't you slow this part down so everybody can hear this foolishness this dude is talking?
All right, let me slow it down, normal speed, and then I'm going to rewind it back. I don't get it. I don't get it, man.
Yeah, he goes completely off subject. Doesn't even really mention Joseph at all, which is what Professor David Rohl was just going into. He doesn't even mention Joseph. He just goes into the genetics of Bantus and Egyptians and things of that nature. So yeah, I don't know what he was thinking.
Let me rewind this footage so you guys can hear him babble. Nonsensical talk.
Hey guys, anyone want to ask any questions? Please take the mic now.
I mean, I got a lot of questions I could ask. I don't know what the appropriate question would be in regards to. Is this more than one presentation? Is this part 3 or is this the first part?
This is part 3. He's going through section by section, and this bit is about Joseph, but he's moving towards entering into the land of Israel, or Canaan, as it would have been then.
Okay, so today I have a lot of questions, because when I do my studies, I like to see people that can be connected to ancient Egypt by way of language, by way of DNA, maternal DNA, and DNA from the mother, and also the traditions and customs. And so when you look at a lot of the Bantus people in sub-Saharan Africa, they have a lot of remnants of the ancient Egyptian language in their language, and they also have remnants of their ancient Egyptian traditions and customs, more so Hebrew traditions and customs than Egyptian traditions and customs. But when you look at the DNA of the people, the Bantus people in sub-Saharan Africa, what you'll see is that they have evidence of mixing with the Egyptians of old, the Cushites of old, and even the Canaanites of old. And so, if you're a true Israelite, if you spend 400 years or hundreds of years in Egypt as Israelites amongst the Egyptians, and of course, the Bible says that Moses and the Israelites left a mixed multitude. You know that Joseph married the daughter of Potiphar, the priest of On, or Heliopas. And if you look at Ephraim and Manasseh, they had an Egyptian mother. You look at King Solomon had an Egyptian wife, and we're pretty sure that a lot of other Israelite men had Egyptian wives, and vice versa, like Egyptian men having Israelite wives. And we should see this in the DNA studies of people that are claiming to be the Jews today of the Bible. And one of the things that I specialize in is studying the DNA from the father and the mother. And what we'll see is that the Bantus people have more of a connection to any type of Semitic, Hamitic genetic mixing that proves that they were actually the people that were in Egypt during the time before the Exodus. And then when they went into Israel when they came back, they still kept this. So if the modern day European Jews do not have any evidence of any Hamitic maternal DNA from the mother, then how could they claim to be the original Israelites of the Bible if they don't have any maternal DNA that connects themselves to having any type of maternal ancestry from Cush, Canaan, or Mitzrayim or Egypt?
But so I haven't mentioned DNA because we don't have any DNA. We have a statue and a palace. What DNA do you want?
Well, you can dig up the bones in Egypt, and you can also, when you go to the tombs of Egypt,
you can't listen. You can't get DNA from ground-soaked soil.
No,
the northeastern delta, the bones are petrified. They're not preserved. Okay, so,
one at a time.
David, you can go, a lot of the mummies that have hair, even though the skin may be mummified, you have the petrous portion of the bone. It's a known fact. There's no fact that geneticists, they go into the petrous portion of the bone inside the inner ear, and they can extract DNA and do genetic studies. And with the genetics,
Ron, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That you're talking about mummies from the desert, from Upper Egypt, from the Valley of the Kings, from Thebes, from Fayum. You're talking about material that's not the same as this, from a much different period. This is the Middle Bronze Age. It's the Eastern Delta. The ground is flooded annually every year for thousands of years. Those bodies get drenched. They become petrified. You cannot extract DNA from skeletal remains that are found in the Eastern Delta. We're not dealing with the Valley of the Kings. We're not dealing with dry tombs where you've got mummification. These guys are not mummified, okay?
So you're saying that you cannot extract DNA big dummy from skeletons anywhere on the planet Earth?
Go back on that part right there.
Are you saying that all the genetic studies that have done DNA studies on skeletons,
the Valley of the Kings, from Thebes, from Fayum, you're talking about material that's not the same as this, from a much different period. This is the Middle Bronze Age. It's the Eastern Delta. The ground is flooded annually every year for thousands of years. Those bodies get drenched. They become petrified. You cannot extract DNA from skeletal remains that are found in the Eastern Delta. We're not dealing with the Valley of the Kings. We're not dealing with dry tombs where you've got mummification. These guys are not mummified, okay?
So you're saying that you cannot extract DNA from ancient skeletons anywhere on the planet Earth?
Pause there right there.
Say again?
Are you saying that all the
he said he literally tells him the bones are petrified. You can't get blood. And he's like, oh, so you're saying you can't get ancient bones from anywhere on the planet? I'm like, bro,
it's a red herring. Red herring, man.
It's like he never said you can't get bones from anywhere on the planet.
Yeah, he was dealing with those bones in the Delta dating to the Middle Bronze Age because those places deal with inundations, right? A lot of flooding, right? So those bones have been petrified. You can't really get DNA if you find bones there. This is very simple, basic stuff. But Ron Dalton is trying to make a fight out of this because he's stuck on blackology.
People what petrified means, by the way. By the way, can you remind what the people with petrified mean? The bones are petrified, which means that
just get the definition.
They turn to stone, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's get the definition.
Yeah, while he's getting the definition, this is something Ron does. Whenever I've had contact with him, and I've pull this card on Clubhouse on DNA. Like he will just he was straw man. He would continue to argue. The man is explaining to him something. He asked the man the question twice. Like this is what he does all the time to not seem as if he's wrong. This dude is a piece of work, man.
And what did all of this have to do with, potentially finding Joseph and connecting it to the biblical narrative?
Exactly.
He went into pygmies and Bantu and all. Like, that ain't got nothing to do with what the man presented. Like, what the hell? Like, you so left field right now. It's not even funny.
Studies that have done DNA studies on skeletons, whether they're in China, they're in Central Asia, they're in Africa, they're in Egypt. Are you saying that these guys they're not doing?
No, they're absolutely spot on. But I'm telling you, the source material of this site that I'm telling you about in Goshen, the skeletal remains are petrified. They are not bone anymore. Okay, they've been replaced. The bone has been replaced. So when they dig up the remains there, they cannot extract DNA from it. It's a different type of DNA source. You can't get it from them. You can get it from royal mummies. You can get it from Roman mummies. You can get it from Greek mummies in the Fayum. Sure, you can. But that's desert mummies or bones, not Eastern Delta bones.
So you just answered the question. So you can extract DNA from the mummies in the tombs of the pharaohs. Yes, you can. And
yes, you can. Yes, of course you can.
He didn't even say.
You know that a man has an X and a Y chromosome. So the pharaohs of Egypt, you can extract the maternal DNA and the Y DNA from the father. So with that,
forgive me, but why is that got to do with what I'm talking about? I'm not talking about the pharaohs in the Valley of the Kings in the 19th dynasty or the 18th dynasty or the 20th dynasty. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Middle Bronze Age, not the Late Bronze Age.
It's correlated because you already acknowledge and understand that Joseph had an Egyptian wife and they had Ephraim and Manasseh. So that means that these two children theoretically should have the maternal DNA of an Egyptian woman. So if you go into different parts of Egypt, into the tombs, and you check the DNA from the father and the mother of Egyptian men, because the man carries the X and the Y chromosome, then that means that we should be able to extract what the maternal DNA of the actual real Egyptians in the Old Kingdom and the Middle Kingdom and the New Kingdom are. So therefore,
give me an example of Egyptian pharaoh from the Old Kingdom that we have the remains of.
You can look at the 18th dynasty, you can look at the 19th dynasty.
Yes, exactly. You're looking at the 18th dynasty, the 19th dynasty, and the 20th dynasty. I'm not in that period. I'm talking about the Middle Kingdom. Okay, the Middle Kingdom, we don't have DNA from the Middle Kingdom.
No. What kingdom was Moses the first, the second, and the third?
New Kingdom, 18th dynasty.
That was what dynasty?
Pause right there.
18th dynasty.
He's getting schooled on chronology right now.
Yeah, he doesn't even know the periods of Egypt. Like all throughout this next section that y'all are about to watch, he doesn't even know when the pharaohs existed, like the dynasties and the kingdoms, like whether it's old, middle, or new. It's crazy. It's like, bro, I don't know, man.
Obviously, he doesn't know what petrified means either. He tried to walk himself out of that, but bro, you stuck on video, man. I know, bro. This is cringeworthy, man. This is cringeworthy. It's idiocy at its best.
Secondhand embarrassment.
Thutmose III, Hatshepsut, all 18th dynasty. Ramesses II, 19th dynasty.
What time frame? What time frame? BC. What time frame? BC. Give me a date. BC.
You obviously missed the first part, so it's very difficult for me to say that. 1279 BC is the conventional date for Ramesses II. 1450 BC or 1447 BC is the conventional date for Thutmose III. I am talking about the Middle Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom at the end of the 12th dynasty, not the 18th.
Was who?
What?
Who's the pharaoh that started the 18th dynasty? The pharaoh
If
that
you
started.
want to know, it's Akmose is the first king of the 18th dynasty who kicked the Hyksos out.
And what was the dates of that? What was the dates of BC times?
Conventionally, 1530 BC. Conventionally.
Okay, and when did the ending of the 18th dynasty? What pharaoh was the ending of the first 15 dynasty? The 18th dynasty.
By the way, none of this
The
has to do with
18th dynasty. Let's have a think. So 1279.
Now he's trying to quiz David Rohl. David Rohl, this is David Rohl's field. He deals with Egyptology, so he knows this. He's trying to quiz David Rohl because he doesn't like the fact that David Rohl just proved to the audience that you're an idiot. You're an idiot. I can't be nice about this. You're so dumb. All your books are fanciful. Your books don't have nothing to really do with actual DNA studies. It's more about finding spaceships and underneath the Sphinx in Egypt than it is about working out phylogeny. And again, we're about 10 minutes after the presentation segment, and he has yet to be on topic. If this is anybody else, they're excited to hear more about the evidence for Joseph. But no, not Ron Dalton. Everything has to be about race and skin color and black this, blackity black that. And you're getting beat up on this information. You don't know the difference between the old kingdom and the middle kingdom and the new kingdom. You obviously don't know the difference in that. You don't know the difference between the Delta, right? Like this is just embarrassing, man. Sad.
I notice he typically does this. He asks people questions when they start beating him. He did that with you in the debate on Clubhouse. He was asking you a lot about genetic terminology and stuff like that. So that's why he's asking all those questions. He's trying to find trying to find something to make him lose, I guess. But
which is stupid because that's called pettifogging. Like none of that stuff matters. Like he started, what's the language of the Mendika people? Bro, I don't know. That ain't got nothing to do with the topic. Oh, he doesn't even know the languages. I can give you the language families. Bro, that don't have anything to do with what we're talking about. That's exactly what he's doing with David Rohl. We don't have to be scholastic here. This is grade A bullshitting. Okay? That's what this is. Bullshitting. Come on, man.
Like you said, just like his books. Nobody buy any more of them damn books, yo. Please.
Or movies.
The Marvel comic books he got. Hanna-Barbera cartoon books he got.
Second, 11 years before that for Seti the first, 1 year before that, 12 before about 1300, around 1300. But what on earth has this got to do with what we're talking about?
Okay, let's one moment. We're at the point where you've missed some information.
Y'all got to do better hosting this. You got to do better hosting this. The host should have been like, listen, Ron Dalton, this is our guest. We respect our guests. What you're talking about has nothing to do with what David Rohl is talking about. So let's just try to stay on topic and, present questions that match the, at least the presentation that the man's bringing up. Because it's fantastic stuff, man. It's stuff that can back the biblical narrative. It can back the Exodus. He's talking about the chronology, revising the chronology. It's things that we should learn from. And you're trying to give this guy an onslaught of BHI nonsense.
With all due respect, so that the people hosting the show have to know that Ron Dalton's being full of BS right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they hear the conversation going on, but understand how my man got introduced. Like Dr. Trevor was introducing Ron Dalton like he was like this big to do guy on DNA, etc. You know what I'm saying? So he's like deferring. Like if you rewind, you can see him actually watching the back and forth like it's a tennis match. Like he's trying to figure out what the heck's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know that he knows how to. Like, this is what I was saying earlier about like there's the Ebri about like, you know what I'm saying? Like just because like everyone on the panel is familiar with what's going on doesn't mean everyone on that panel is familiar. Like, so we're not necessarily the average when it comes to this conversation. Like me and Anonymous debate the activists, right? Y'all debate DNA and whatnot, right? You know what I'm saying? Not everybody does that. You know what I'm saying? So like they might just hear pharaohs being thrown around and dynasties being thrown around and don't recognize that Dave Rohl is taking my man to literally giving him a free clinic right now. Literally, just let me just teach you all of Egyptian history real quick in chronological order. Blah, blah. Yo, this is embarrassing right now.
Sad.
Run, and that's what's causing the variance. What David has already done is he's laid the foundation that conventional archaeology has said that there is a time period that they put things in, which, and correct me if I'm wrong, which is around Ramesses II, but that the redirected or revision, that's the word, the revision of the timeline means that it's actually should have been 300 years earlier. Is that correct, David?
Approximately. What I'm saying is, for Ron's benefit, that Ramesses II is not the Pharaoh of the Exodus. You've watched too many Cecil B. DeMille movies. Okay, Ramesses II has nothing.
I didn't say
Ramesses II, rather, no, but you're talking about the 19th dynasty and the 18th dynasty. Okay, what I'm saying is the Exodus took place in the 13th dynasty. Joseph arrived in Egypt at the end of the 12th dynasty. Okay, so this material I'm showing you now doesn't belong to the New Kingdom. It belongs to the Middle Kingdom, what's called the Middle Bronze Age, not the Late Bronze Age. So the material that I'm showing you in the Eastern Delta, you don't have any DNA material for that era because we don't have the bodies of the kings for that period. We have the bodies of the kings from the 18th, 19th, and 20th dynasty. We don't have DNA for this era, especially in the Eastern Delta, because of the annual flood of the Nile, which caused the burials to get saturated. And as a scientist, you know, you cannot take DNA from bones which have been petrified.
So are you
right.
is this
Because that right
safe
there
to
you
say
should-
that
Did he
was
just call
Ramses
him?
III or Ramses II or second Achdei, were they
Did he just call him a
With the
scientist?
were they authentic Egyptians or were they Semites?
That isn't what we're talking about today.
Exactly.
We're not
We're
talking
seeking
about
to
those
go through the
characters.
journey. We're seeking to go through the journey of the children of Israel from outside of Egypt into Egypt, through the time period that they were in Egypt, and back out again into the land of Canaan. Now,
Right.
we've established that Joseph, what was it? It was that they found an empty tomb. Well, that's
They
in
fo-
line with what the Bible says, which is
Yeah.
that they took his bones back to Canaan. We also established that he had on the person that was found in a Western Semitic compound, and
Yes.
that they had on a cloak of many colors with a throw stick over it,
Yes.
which was
The statue had on, not the
That's
body,
right.
the statue. Yes.
the statue.
Yeah.
So from there, you said it was an Austrian that found this.
It was the Austrian Institute of Archaeology in Austria, in Vienna, which did the excavations in this area at Avaris. Yes.
The main thing I wanted to ask David, and Joseph, I'm gonna let you do it after. So the main thing I posed the question to David. If you're familiar with the Bible story, right, of the Israelites that went into Egypt during the famine, Joseph and his brothers, and so
yes.
How many daughters
Isn't that
did
what
Jacob
he's talking
have?
about?
Hell nah.
Daughters
Isn't
did
that what he's
Jacob
talking
have?
about?
Yeah.
Okay, I think there is at least 3 that I know of.
Okay.
Okay, but again.
Okay, well let me just get you where I'm going. So
is this a quiz or what?
No.
What's this?
No,
How
I
many
feel so
points do
bad
I
for
get for
David,
giving you a
bro.
correct answer?
So
Why are you redirecting what we're trying to do to somewhere else?
It's gonna add to
Straw
what
man.
We're gonna have to hold it, Ron. Hold it for now. Joseph has
one question.
Joseph has a question. Yeah.
Joseph has a question. Let's go to Joseph.
Okay. This
I have 2 questions about the actual statue itself.
Yeah.
2 things going on. Number one, which I found quite assuming, the imagery at the end, because it was a reconstruction of the statue. First of all, the face is hacked off for some reason.
Yes.
Which seems
Why?
to be and that's my question. And then
that's very good.
in Egypt,
Yeah.
I'm aware that they were fond of wearing wigs.
Wigs.
Is that true?
That is true for hygiene purposes. But if you look at, for instance, of the mummy of Queen Tia, the wife of Amenhotep III, and Ron will know about this one, she has marvelous long hair, really long hair. So it's not always the case, okay? But yes, but the question, you're quite right. Could that be a wig rather than a natural hair? That is entirely possible. But then you would have to ask yourself the question, when you reconstruct a statue or you make a statue of an individual, do you try to make it the likeness of that person?
Yes.
Yes, I think that's fair enough, isn't it? Your other question was really, really interesting. You said, okay, who destroyed the statue?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good question. When the Exodus takes place and Moses goes and picks up the body of Joseph from his tomb and takes it to the promised land to be buried at Shechem, okay, he leaves an empty tomb behind, but he can't lug this great big heavy statue with him because he can't cart that through Sinai. You can't take that all the way to the promised land, so it's left behind. So what do the Egyptians do? They find the empty tomb after the Exodus. They find the empty tomb with this huge statue in it of the guy who brought the Israelites into Egypt. And what they're going to do, they're going to say, well, this was the guy who caused us all our troubles. This is the guy who brought these people into Egypt and caused this destruction that destroyed our army and that destroyed our whole country with these plagues. So they smash it to pieces. That's all they've got left. They can't take a revenge out on a body that's not there anymore. So they smash the statue after the Exodus.
Okay, now
make sense?
Yes, yeah, I'm gonna put that to one side.
Right.
Ask a similar question about the Sphinx, because we see the Sphinx, for instance, the nose of the Sphinx.
Yeah.
And I have done a little bit of research, and I've read Ivan van Sertima. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yeah.
And claims that he went to the British Museum and was let in behind the scenes. And the nose of the Sphinx was actually Negroid in feature. And this is being kept at the back. So
who's this guy, by the way?
Ivan van Sertima.
Okay, but as far as I'm aware, that what remains of the Sphinx in the British Museum is the beard. The nose was shot off by Napoleon's people. Yeah. So what fragments were recovered, I don't know, and I wouldn't have an argument with that anyway. I wouldn't have an argument with you on that, because we're talking about the Old Kingdom. We're talking about the 4th dynasty, and in fact, I would suggest to you that the Sphinx is much older than the pyramids anyway. I believe it's probably 1st dynasty, if not earlier. Okay, it doesn't actually belong to the 4th dynasty, because we have a text which says that Khufu of the Great Pyramid actually repaired the Sphinx. So it can't belong to Khafre, his son. He can't have been the one who carved the Sphinx. It must be older than the pyramids.
Okay, so coming back finally to that question, do we have specific on the era when the face was hacked off of that particular statue, or
of the Sphinx?
Not of the Sphinx.
Of the so-called Joseph statue. Should we call it that for the moment? Yes. Well, you can't. What happens is that the statue is destroyed before the pyramid is demolished. Okay. So you've got, because it's buried inside the pyramid destruction. Okay. So it's after the body is removed, and it's before the pyramid is destroyed. Now, the pyramid was flattened and destroyed well before the beginning of the New Kingdom. So that means it has to be in the period very, very close after the time when the body was removed, which is when I think the Exodus took place. Okay, so it's not in more recent time that statue was destroyed.
Okay, we have a comment from one of our listeners, and they ask, is this a study or a debate? But I'm going to allow Ronald to have one more question, because he's on a timeline and he's going to have to leave us. So perhaps the reason why the communication is going more like a debate is because Ron's in a hurry and he's on a timeline. So ask your question, sir.
Okay, so the question is, this is going to tie into the Exodus. We have to understand that the Israelites are in Africa with the majority of the Egyptians,
They're going
and the
another
Cushites.
pseudo.
The land of Canaan, of course, was in modern day Israel. But if
That
you look at
Kelly
the
up
people
there.
they were amongst, the people that they intermarried with over hundreds of years. If Jacob only had one daughter, according to the Bible, named Dinah, and all his brothers, Joseph's brothers, and then went to Egypt, and they amassed a multitude of almost 1 million, 2 million people before they left the Exodus. The question we have to ask ourselves, because we know that Joseph married an Egyptian woman, we know that Moses married a Cushite woman, we know the Israelites of old, in the Bible says they intermarried with the Canaanites and the Egyptians and other Hamitic African nations. If this is the case, then what we should see, and I always go back to DNA because you can test DNA, independent of what you might say in terms of which dynasty you're able to do it, which dynasty not able to do it. So when the Israelites left Egypt, they had to be a mixed multitude, and their genetics had to have shown from the mother's side, because if Jacob only had one daughter, then the Israelites had to take on other wives of other nations, such as the Egyptians, the Cushites, like Moses. So in the maternal DNA, which they have tested in the bones of Egypt and the Bantu people in Africa, and the Maasai and the Luo and the Somalians, all these other people, the Beja, you will see the DNA of the maternal DNA of these ethnic individuals in Africa, including the Bantu's Negro, correlates to the fact that in history they can prove that they were in ancient Egypt, they went into Israel, they were part of the Israelites.
In
The
Leonard
old Bible,
Jeffries'
because when you
class,
look at the
Professor
Jews
Everett
today,
Scobie
they have
class,
no maternal
John,
DNA that
John Henry
connects them
Clark,
to any Hamitic groups in Africa, such as the
he wouldn't even
Egyptians,
talk
the
to you.
Canaanites, and the Nubians. So
Dr.
we have
Ben
to
would call
address
you a
that.
damn idiot.
Regardless of the archaeology, we have to address the fact that the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Cushites, and even the Canaanites were black people of the land of Ham, of the sons of Ham, and they intermarried.
What does that have to do with what David Rohl is presenting?
And I'm gonna tell you the illest part. David Rohl probably is not even gonna disagree with that.
No, I'm a spoiler alert. He says if they were, he has no problem with it.
See, so that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I'm about to snap. Let's get through this.
Why bring this to the table? You could have picked his brain on any information on the Exodus, Joseph, the Sinaitic strip we were talking about the other day. You could have went anywhere with this guy. This man has done the field work.
Yeah, but that mixes up the priorities. Ron Dalton is giving David Rohl an opportunity to pick his brain.
God damn it, a boo.
It ain't much to pick.
The most frustrating part of this to me is there's conversations to be had. Like, if you just want to be argumentative, you can argue Roll's timeline. Like, you can argue against it and still prove Joseph, still be proving Joseph, be proving Manasseh and Ephraim, and just say, I disagree with a couple of different points here. But Dalton don't even know. Hey, look, bro, don't talk about the Exodus and go into antiquity if you have not been able to master the basics of the timeline. Like, you cannot be talking about acting like you know what you're doing, and then Roll is breaking down all of the dynasties. He's going from Ramesses to Thutmose to
he's even damn near giving you a full Kings list.
Yeah, like he's giving you, and he's telling you the players on the field. That's the crazy part. Like, he's telling you, he's helping you learn the people that are involved with the Exodus. Now I'm gonna tell you the only play, like, if he would have been listening, what he should have did was say, okay, really, Roll has a problem with Exodus chapter 1, right? Identifying how much time passes between the death of Joseph and the birth of Moses, right? This is really the argument a lot of times when you're dealing with Roll's argument. And he doesn't even know how to tap into this and come into it and have a conversation. It's frustrating, bro. It's like
But why even come on and have that beef though, right? Like, if your man is trying to move, like, he's like, the conventional goalposts is people think that it happened at this time. We need to be thinking like way farther down the line.
Right.
Why even have the beef?
Right. It's no beef then for me. I'm like, I agree with you 100%. Right. As soon as I hear it, I'm like, that's right. Right. And like I said, really the only issue you're going to have is, and you would notice, I don't know how many of y'all watched the documentary Patterns of Evidence, right?
Great documentary. Yeah.
It's an amazing documentary, right? And this is where Roll is first really starting to postulate his theory on this, right? This is when he's really starting to really, he's doing these papers, he's really going in on it, and everybody's calling him a quack and all of this, right? But when you start to study it, most of what he's saying is right and exact. I need to go back and watch Patterns of Evidence myself to see how far he's moving the timeline, because I don't even think you have to argue it in that perspective no more. That's just my thought. I don't think we even have to argue that the timeline is off. We have to argue that people are putting the Exodus in the wrong place, right? Because all the archaeology and everything lines up with 18th dynasty, right there with Thutmose III and Amenhotep II.
So Anan, you never seen this interview with
Yo,
David
what
Bell
up,
before?
Sluff? And this is from March of
When I
2021.
Yeah, never
and
seen
it's
this.
crazy because I was
Never seen
saying
this.
as we was reviewing it, and I guess there's other parts to it as well that I said, yo, Anan is gonna love this when he hears this.
Yeah, bro. Like I'm fast. You know, I'm a geek with the Exodus. Like I'm fascinated, bro. Like, and just I'm sad. So I'm watching this and I'm heartbroken. I'm gonna be honest with you, because you put any of us up there, the first thing we doing is like, okay, let's talk about the Exodus. Then what you mean? You found Joseph, right? Because that what he has is in my slide presentation. Those 12 graves, those 12 columns, the work on the Vizier temple, the work on the other palace, the Thutmose palace that's at Avaris. Like nobody's going to the material culture. This man is showing you Levant houses in this area. Like, and the only thing you can start to talk about is what color these people were.
BHI bullshit.
Hey, look, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, bro. The reason most of us is dark skin, since we just gonna do it, since we playing phenotype and all of this. I ain't saying we was light and white, right? But the reason I'm a dark nigga, right? The reason I'm like that's because our forefathers mixed with those African women. Like why are we even arguing about this? Why is this? Of course they would have been black. He's not saying they're not. He don't give a damn about what they look like. He trying to prove the Exodus.
Exactly.
That's what we
Nigga, we so caught up in phenotype rhetoric that we don't even see when somebody is trying to help. That's Bible. Like, end of the day, that's Bible. This is why me and Moore are so happy to do that work. Like, we're solving a biblical issue by fixing the Exodus. And you want to argue about phenotype and not even doing a good job of arguing about it. But it's
But that's why skin doctrine is idolatry, fam. Like this is what that joint looks like, man. Like it's not a logical enterprise. You know what I'm saying? It's a completely emotional enterprise. Hence, you're gonna jump up there and miss the opportunity. Like again, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of a when conversation, right? Like so, like you and I would go up there. You and I would do the same thing, right? Appreciate you for trying to move the timeline, move the Overton window on this joint, right? Now let's have a conversation about other timelines or whatever, what's gonna fit in here.
Let's get into the details of why you're moving that timeline.
Why do you say this instead of this? And why do you say this versus this? Okay, let me see.
What are the nuances?
Yo, this is like, bro.
The crazy part is the wild part more. He's so succinct with his argument. You already know what it is.
Facts.
He's literally telling you, nigga, I want to talk about Joseph. Y'all want to play all this? I want to talk about Joseph. Let's go to the 12th dynasty. End of the 12th dynasty. Let's talk about Joseph. And for all intents and purposes, he is right. When you study this, we go somewhere close to the end of the 12th dynasty.
Man.
Right? And we can prove the famine and the time of plenty.
Hey, you sure the 12th dynasty and the 18th dynasty ain't the same time period?
I'm 100% positive, bro.
I'm heard.
Hey, we got multiple dynasties. We even got a couple running concurrent with each other in between that time, nigga. So yeah, I'm 100% sure. As a matter of
Dalton, he don't know the difference between the old, middle, and the new kingdom.
Facts.
And his geography's off.
His geography is off. His DNA is off. But even in worse, like I keep telling people, and this is where Chris got beat up too. I don't care. It is what it is. If you don't know the timeline, don't talk about this. I promise you, bro. Like if you don't know the timeline, you're gonna mess it up every time. That's why idiots end up in 13th century, 1270 BC. No, nigga. No. It should happen 1446. Our ancestors say it happened in 1446. The question is now, how do we reconcile that? And the one point that he does have that I really want to get into eventually is this Amos Stele, right? What is the correlation with this Amos Stele and the Exodus, if any? And because this is, for all intents and purposes, is the account of the Thera eruption. And so now we got to get into this. Are we, did this happen during the time of the Hyksos, or did it happen 100 years later? And these are the conversations that he should be having, but he's not.
But again, it's a matter of when, not if, right?
Yeah, bro.
It's a whole bro, man. I wish it could have been me and you on the screen, fam. Like, yeah, I'm like, yo, these two cats, fam.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you the saddest part for me is I don't never want to say nothing bad about our elders. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like I don't like being in this space where I got to say something bad about an elder who, and I recognize he's written a bunch of books. He's been on the battlefield way longer than me. He was an Israelite before I even knew who I was. All of the accolades I give him, but that's ridiculous, bro. I can't stand behind that. Like, especially when we talk about academia, like Rohl is an academic. If you go in there and have that conversation correctly, oh my God, man. Like, we on a whole nother playing field at this point, because now we exchanging information. And now from there, now we start to go and start talking to the architects. Hey, look, bro, it's bigger than y'all bullshit. I hate to cuss. It's bigger than y'all personal vendettas, man. Y'all killing people who are trying to actually get out here and do scholarship, create organizations, and create connections with other people in other countries. I want to figure out our history, and you want to argue about what we look like. That's sad, bro.
Hey, I'm gonna say it like this, man. Israelites smash idols, so this skin doctrine gotta go, fam.
It's getting so egregious. This man said the ancient Egyptians were pygmies too. I'm like, this is just sad. Or you starting to make the ancient Egyptians into pygmies just to fit this blackety black vision that you have of the ancient world. Like, stop it, man.
And that point that somebody made earlier about him trying to compare these DNA to the Dravidians, or Dravidians, I'm sorry. That's exactly what he does. If you watch his documentary, if you start to read different parts of his book, just listen to him. He's big on the Dravidians. And for whatever reason, he thinks that it plays more of a role in us than I think it does, personally. But yeah, when you're listening to him and you start studying and you're saying, well, is he taking it to the Dravidian? Like, it's exactly what he's doing. So just understand that.
Yeah, because he thinks that Abraham he thinks Abraham spoke and wrote in Sanskrit because we find Sanskrit in the Middle East. But little does he know that the Mitanni Empire was an Indo-Aryan empire in Syria.
Hey, look. And this is why Ibri is one of the coldest, because don't nobody even go into the Mitanni. The Mitanni solve a lot of problems about what we're trying to figure out. I'm gonna keep that a buck with you. And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Ibri, why you be leaving juicy details out? He even said that Sanskrit was Semitic.
Right, that too. He did say that as well.
Hey, shut up.
Even though Sanskrit's Indo-European, but
that's Indo-European, dude.
I don't believe nothing y'all saying right now.
By the way,
I'm calling you a liar, bro. I'm calling you a bold
idiot.
When you really think about it, Ron Dalton is actually making Abraham a Hurrian, because most of the population in Mitanni were Hurrians. And then he says Ishmael.
I knew it.
Hey, and we call this Lex Vortex doctrine. I beat this up 3 years ago, maybe 4 now. It's exactly what he
head to the mountain.
Yeah, that's that head for the mountains doctrine, bro. I'm telling you.
Man, you already know what his connection to the Dravidians are, right?
Skin tone.
They black.
Yep.
The people in Fiji, they Israelites because they black, right? The Australia Aboriginals, they black, they Israelites. The Eskimos, black, Israelites. It has nothing to do with genetics. It has nothing to do with anthropology, archaeology, or research. This man is just going around because he told me on Clubhouse that when the scriptures say that Judah was scattered abroad, that's talking about everybody that had melanin in their skin.
Wait,
No,
what?
man. You're not just gonna walk by that. Stop.
Yeah, no, you
Stop.
unpack
You don't
that.
get to speed through that. What?
Brother, that's what this man is teaching.
Explain. No, I don't even understand that.
He said the only way that the scripture could prove itself out to be real prophecy when it says Judah was scattered or Israel was scattered abroad is that it has to be just talking about the melanated people that's across the planet. So that's Negritos, people of Fiji, some Southeast Asians, Dravidians.
How, Sway?
Well, the how is they black. That's
many of these people was in these places before we was even thought about. Nigga, what are we talking about, bro?
I
like,
know.
I'm sorry. Like, what do you mean? What are we doing?
And I said,
man,
what is your proof? Some people on the panel remember this. I said, what is your proof that the people of Fiji are Israelites? He said, I called them and asked them.
They told
He
me.
called it. Hey, shut up. Hey, shut up.
Bro,
if I'm lying, I'm talk to you.
I gotta
go talk to you. That's true. This one I'm talking to you.
I'm flying and my feet ain't
bro,
left
that's why I'm
the
talking to you, bro. I'm talking to you, bro. That's why oh no, what is happening? Hey, stop.
I'm so hurt right now.
I can't do this, man. I can't, bro. Like I can't. Like, what you mean?
Oh,
But it's 2022, bro. I don't know if cats understand what that means. You have things like what's this plane thing? This LiDAR. I really want to see if they can do some LiDAR over in some of these areas. Like we talking about modern advancements in science, and he bringing us back to the Stone Age, saying that we people, bro. These people was here in some of these places for so long, bro.
Abu remember more of the conversation than I do.
He
said they lost the Torah on a boat on the way to the Fiji Islands.
So they lost the Torah?
Stop.
Hey, shut up, bro.
Somewhere in the bottom of the ocean.
I'm not talking to y'all, I am not talking to y'all.
I was like, bro, a phone call's your proof? Come on, man. Oh, man.
A phone call is like step 1, maybe step 2. Like you do the email and then you should get the phone call, and that should be the beginning of the dialogue, not the end all be all. Like, oh, they told me they Israel. They told me they was Israel, so yeah, that's it.
But by the way, I just got to point this out again. Yap Gang and everybody else on the panel, we're losing money as we try to, tell people about this information. And Ron Dalton gains a ton of money when it comes to his stuff. We're doing something wrong, people.
We got the pimp backwards right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm about to hit you with the whole Patreon model. You know what I'm saying? The whole YouTube model.
Yeah, 100. No, but I'm gonna be honest with you though, bro. Like it seems to be that's the only way people seem to take you serious at this point. Is you got to have a body of work that you're gonna say I'm gonna charge you for. I'm gonna charge you for my body of work for you to take it serious. Well, if that's the case, then that's what we got to do.
How about this? We just say we're Israelites and provide no evidence. Let's just do that. I mean, everybody's doing it.
Everybody else doing it. It seems to be very peaceful. It seems to be very lucrative to walk around and just say, I'm black and I'm an Israelite. If you don't like that, F you white man. Now everybody give me tithes. I mean, that's what's going on, bro.
F you pay me.
F you pay me. That's right. Nah, hey, look, bro. Hey, look, man. This ain't it. Understand.
Hold on, I got to show you something because you mentioned that he wrote books, right? Let's go to his book. I'm just gonna go to the page real quick. I'm gonna show you what his citation and sources are.
Netflix.
Hold on, why you spoil it? Why you spoil it?
No.
Hey, wait, no, you was serious when you said Netflix?
Hold on. Why you spoil it, brother? Stop it. Come on,
hey, if
man.
any of you niggas ever come to me with a Netflix source, bro, I'm walking out the debate. If I'm in a debate and the nigga got a Netflix source, you won. I'm walking out.
I'm blaming everybody on the panel right now for this being out because we it's our fault that people ain't afraid to put this kind of information out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit! Look at he read this shit.
Hold on. What are you trying to read?
This is from the Hebrew to Negroes. Hold on.
You know what? Hey, and this is my fault for not reading that whole book. This
Hold
is
on.
all. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
Hebrews
is
to Negroes.
100% my fault for not being able to make it through any of them books. That's my
Yeah,
fault.
exactly. 100%. Hey, Sean's backstage.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
I wasn't able
real
to.
quick. Hold on.
Oh, this hurts.
Hold
This
on.
one
Let me
hurts
get
a
it.
lot.
Let me get it out. In this book, Hebrews to Negroes, Volume 3, Wake Up Black America.
Oh yeah, I definitely didn't see that was volume 3, fam. I definitely
Man, he got hell of them.
Page 317, it says the Neanderthal is credited to have lived thousands of years ago, most likely before the flood, when all types of prehistoric animals walked the earth. Now, y'all be like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah, I'm sitting here listening like, okay, let's see.
Look what his source is. At least this is what modern TV and movies show.
Yo, not even Netflix, my G.
Hey,
Not even Netflix.
You got me running in the circle. Hey, not TV and movies. Hey,
He
that's
didn't
why,
even
bro.
say documentaries. He said
Hey, bro.
movies, dog.
That's why David Rohl said you've been watching too much Cecil B. DeMille or whatever he said. Hey,
Yeah,
Rohl,
exactly.
Anybody get his book on Kindle, just type in movies and look at all of the movie references he has.
Yeah.
Right here.
Type in Netflix. Type that in.
Yo,
Hey,
check
look.
this
Hey,
out.
look.
If
Hey,
all of us
hey,
don't have a book by this time next year, we need to slap ourselves like hard, fam, because this is ridiculous.
Research Harp, the movie Geostorm 2017, and the movie Aloha.
No.
Aloha.
He said Aloha. He said research these movies, y'all.
No.
That's research. That's primary.
Hey, bro, I can't even laugh.
We got.
I'm sitting here looking at that in writing right now.
Then he goes into the words of the Lord of Enki. Look. Then he goes into the words of
Yo, that just hurt my
Lord
whole
Enki.
soul. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
I'm about to get y'all finna make me start
Firstborn
drinking,
and
bro. Like,
yo, man.
I don't
By
think
the
people
way,
understand
my
how.
boy, you know what I'm saying? God,
I think
yo.
people really underestimate how serious we take scholarship. Like, all jokes aside, right? We laughing because to us this is hilarious. But I'm gonna tell you, if this was an academia and we was having a real like a symposium talking about the Exodus, we would have ran that dude out the room, bro. I'm gonna keep it.
Nah, anonymous. We're not taking this serious enough because they're not afraid to say this stuff out
Here go
loud.
page 580.
They're not afraid to not charge people for this stuff. You feel me? Like, nah, we got work to do, fam.
Yeah,
he used a movie reference right here as a citation. He says in the movie, Ra has a spaceship buried within the pyramids of Giza in order to speak. Just as in the Emerald Tablets of Thought, the spaceship of Ra tries to leave Egypt, but the military team sent into the past somehow managed to blow it up using a bomb.
By the way,
That's a question, bro.
that's
What the
y'all's
hell
people
that
got him to move to Africa? By the way, with all that money, that's y'all.
Ain't no about to say something. Hold on. He about to say a key thing. What the hell they got to do with Hebrews and Negroes?
What that got to do with Hebrews and Negroes, bro? What you took the words out, man? What the hell that got to do with Hebrews and Negroes, bro? I don't.
It's all type of esoteric occult stuff in this book. He talks about a time machine that's hidden in ancient Egypt, like a spaceship underneath the Sphinx. Like it's all type of weird stuff. And then he says, "Oh well, according to this movie, Stargate."
See, bro, not Stargate doctrine. We went from Left Behind to Stargate. Like, come on.
By the way, low key, somebody told me, and I'm not gonna say their name, but a lot of this stuff that he be saying is very similar to Nuwabian type of rhetoric.
I was literally just
looking for
thinking of
Nuwabian.
Dr. York. I was thinking the same thing now.
Now, I'm not gonna tell you who said that, but whoever said that is absolutely correct. And I'm not gonna say their name though.
Oh, you know who I'm talking about?
I know 3 people that said it. You know, I talked to all the OGs. You know what I'm saying? So
I think Ron Dalton might be a former Nuwabian that became an Israelite after the leader of the Nuwabians was found out as being a pedophile and got arrested.
I don't want to say that. I don't, because I don't know for sure, so I don't want to say that. I don't know. But I will say It's Nubian-ish.
Remix.
It is Nubian-ish.
Oh,
Hey, look,
man.
in all respect, like I'm just gonna say this part. Do better. Do better. I'd rather you laugh at me for 2 years for me
Don't
getting
do
my
no
work
more.
right.
No, don't do no more. Stop. Just stop.
I'd rather you laugh at me for taking 2 years to get my work right, or however long it took, than do that.
They're not gonna check this out. What incentive do they have to get better if they're already getting paid to do this?
That's true.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, bro. We gotta run pockets.
Very good point. That is a very good point.
We gotta go run pockets, fam. Just is what
Damn,
it
that is
is.
very good.
Hold on. What
Nothing.
what are you saying about Sanskrit right there? Hold on. What's that about Sanskrit?
So the brothers that might think we making stuff up and we just picking on them.
I knew he was gonna say Aramaic. Oh no.
God, bro, I can't with this.
Page 33 of Hebrews to
You
me,
can't
bro.
even make this up, bro.
He says at the top of the page, are there some Shemitic people or lost Israelites in India? Consider this amazing fact.
This amazing fact. This
Every
dead
time-
bachelor sounding ass.
I'm sorry. I can't read this shit. Hold on. Give me a minute. Let me skip to this part right here, the bottom paragraph. Today, the people living in Kerala, India, mostly speak Malayalam, which has Assyrian, Aramaic, and Hebrew. Influences mixed with Sanskrit or Tamil, which is also Semitic. Hold on. In nature.
It doesn't
He's
even.
saying,
Hey, look, hold on, come out. What does it mean in nature? See, this is what I'm saying. Like this type of nonsense, bro. Like either he quoted that from somebody in nature.
He
So the
said
nature of Sanskrit is Semitic. What is the nature of a language? First off, and if you're like, you know what, I'm gonna stop. Like, bro, stop.
By the way, you people out there with him in Africa, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Whatever you
Don't
do,
drink
don't
the
drink the
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
Hey,
What part of Africa are you in?
He's in, I think, South Africa or something.
for all my people in Africa, I'm not with your boy. We're like,
Hey, I'm gonna keep it a buck,
we're
bro.
not part
Like,
of the same thing.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. Because of that, that's the main reason we got to start getting busy here and getting busy over there. I'm not gonna let cats take this information around the world and beat us to it. No, because now I got to come there and undo what you did. We need to be striking first. Internet is an amazing tool. We need to be reaching out to people over there and starting to get this right. You are not gonna run from South Africa all the way around the damn up to the west, telling these motherfuckers.
That page is incredible. As someone who has an amateur interest in
Knew
languages,
Abu was sitting here reading this quietly.
I was.
I knew it, bro. I knew
Here's
it.
my thought: if you can make Malayalam a Semitic language, by that logic, you could make Yiddish a Semitic language. And here's what I mean by that: Yiddish speakers, because they practice Judaism and have a Hebrew and Aramaic liturgy, will have a little bit of Hebrew and Aramaic in their language, the loan words that they borrow from their liturgy. It's the same thing with these Syriac Christians in India. They have a Syriac liturgy because they're essentially Syrian Orthodox Christians. So that's where they get these Aramaic terms. They're loan words from Syriac because of their liturgy. So the argument to make Malayalam Semitic could be used just as easily to make Yiddish Semitic or English, Semitic.
I can't resist. So based upon that, is there more Hebrew loan words in Yiddish or in the Iwe language?
Rudy Heinrich brought that up. Honestly, I mean, I hadn't thought about it before Rudy brought that up, but honestly, I think there's going to be more Hebrew loan words in Yiddish than there is in Eve or Evegbe, as they say. I have, but of course, I'm willing to discuss it with proponents of the view that Evegbe is.
I mean, I would agree with you on that. I want to look into just all of the Bantu expansion. Like when we start going to the Bantu expansion and study the loan words, even in that. And I'm gonna tell all y'all, don't just come in here thinking you can say because they're loan words. And this is really what Abu is saying, right? Just because you see loan words in a culture, it doesn't mean that they were technically like those people. Like that's not a smoking gun, right? It shows some type of, like he was saying, liturgy or some type of connection in a different cultural way. But it doesn't necessarily mean, oh, well, these are your people because they have loan words. No, man. I think y'all seem to not understand. Like just like today, there's just different slang, right? There's different things that we use in different regions, especially. right? So out here, if we talking about if you got a stick, right, you know what that is. But on the West Coast, like I'm on the East Coast now, but on the West Coast, they're not calling them sticks, right? They're, especially in the Bay, they used to, I ain't gonna go there. But the point is this: the point is this: is these loan words are not smoking guns for trying to find our people. Stop doing that, right?
We're
Go to
not
the
even
culture.
Indian, so why is he even into this stuff? We're not Indian. We're not. What is this? What's the
I
word?
have to correct you. I have to correct you, brother.
It's
The
because
Dravidians are black.
Malayalam is a Dravidian language. That's probably what's motivating him to go there.
100able, and that's why. So that's the one thing I studied when I watched his last documentary, or it was either the last one or one before that, because he was loan word heavy. It was like 30 minutes of just one section of just loan words and all these different cultures, and all of it went back, and it starts and goes back to that Dravidian connection. It's exactly what it is.
Hold on. Hey, now, if that made y'all go wow, let's go to page 284.
It can't get no worse.
Page 284. He talks about a particular race of people, right? Because I'm not gonna read all of this, right? I'll start here. He said, "Could this be the reason why some Asians are white as well? Could this be the reason why some Asians are white skinned and some are dark skinned? The blonde, red haired, blue eyed Tarim mummies, the lady of Tarim in China, have brought attention to this matter." Huh?
I just see Tocharians on the screen. Like, yo, what's the Tocharians got to do with the Hebrews?
Hold on. Let me get to the juicy part.
Oh my
God. They also found Tocharian, i.e., Scythian female mummy with white skin and blood hair wrapped in Celtic cloth. Recovered from these Tocharian mummies were also swastika decorations on pottery, which has been linked to the white Nordic alien race living inside the inner earth.
Nah, stop it.
Shout out to my Hyborians or whatever they're called by the
Hyperboreans,
Hyperboreans,
Nah. Shout out to the ancient aliens Israelites, you know what I'm saying? Like,
okay. I'm not gonna go over everything in this book. He believes that pygmies pretty much circumnavigated the earth. They went to China.
Yeah, because pygmies are the Canaanites to him.
Yeah, and then he also talks about how aliens crashed in China and brought forth the white Nordic alien race, and that's what spread the white gene. There's a bunch of crazy stuff in this book, man.
Remember what he said about the Mongoloids? That I think he said like people with Asian features are aliens or something like that.
Yeah. Let me find that. Hold on, that'll be my last one.
No, bro. This is literally what I grew up with. Look, I'm gonna tell you, this is what kids would do. I got slanted eyes, right? I look like a black ass Asian dude. They would say, "Oh, black alien, black Jap." Like this is what kids do. This is what elementary kids do in school.
All day.
This is what the elementary kids do in school. Like, come, hey,
yo.
But he's making the killing.
Could you lower my comment? Lower the comment on the screen so we could read the bottom of each page, because the comment on the screen is blocking the page.
I ain't going front, bro. I'm hurt right now, bro. I'm gonna call Ron. I'm calling him. Like, I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna call.
So all these people saying, "Oh, he wrote all these books. He wrote all these books." Have you read the books? Have you looked? You took out some time to look at the comic books?
I don't think people read them. I ain't gonna lie, because even we know some people who has these books and haven't read them.
Yeah,
you got one on here. Like I said, like I can't make it through them. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I tried, bro.
I said the same thing, fam. I couldn't
even get through the documentaries, bro. Like and I felt bad. Like I bought that motherfucker, right? You know what I'm saying? And I was like,
Oh, you'll like this one, Abu. You'll love this one. Though this is page 466. It says the Y DNA R was originally created from the mixing of Shemitic people with other Shemitic people.
You are a Semite, Abu.
You are
mixed, apparently, according to this.
Actually, all these haplogroups are Israelites. So R is Israel, H is Israel, and he makes a point to say most commonly seen in Dravidian South dark-skinned Indians. Let me see. What's the other? I think he says P is Israel.
Yeah, I think that because it wasn't that was associated with the
Polynesians and stuff.
Yeah, exactly, or Papua, or the quote unquote negritos in the Philippines and stuff like that.
Why wouldn't he
just
make
right there on the page? Yeah,
but why wouldn't he just make a Hebrew argument, if anything? Like, it's still you still get ate up in a lot of ways. But why wouldn't you just make a Hebrew argument rather than these are all Israelites? Like I don't understand.
Movies. He has to put all of it in there.
Is he even making like a mixed multitude argument?
No, bro. No, bro.
No, he believes haplogroup.
He's making a CB4 argument. I'm black, y'all. I'm black, y'all. I'm black, bliggity, black, nigga. That's what he's making.
No,
honestly,
haplogroup alphabet soup. How did we get here, bro? Like,
he proposed in his discussion with Yeshub, which was eye-opening. He had proposed that through climate and other conditions in your environment, your haplogroup changes over the course of your lineage.
Shut up.
And that's how you say Israelite R or Israelite P or Israelite.
Stop that now.
Hey, remember he had an issue with.
I have to ask, Abu, does it have to like? Can it change within yourself, or does it have to like be a mutation that you pass on to your children?
Oh, I don't know. I think it changes within a line, which is how you can have a situation.
Oh my God!
Listen, you have Semites with J and E and P and C, and then you also have non-Semites with all of that.
Hey, look, bro. Look.
It's environmental pressures. That's literally what he argued in his discussion with Yeshua. It's an
so now,
eye-opening debate.
So he's saying that epigenetics rewrites your DNA or changes your haplogroup.
Changes the haplogroup.
And that's impossible. That's impossible.
Precisely his position. That's the
epigenetics. Listen, bro. Epigenetics changes your gene expression,
right?
Without changing your damn.
Oh my.
And that's where that whole thing with the phone call and the book came in, because Yeshub was saying that's impossible. He's literally saying what you were saying, and that's when Ron Dalton, and I'm not trying to mock him, but he literally introduced this the premise like that's what you're saying, but then how do you explain the fact that they look like this and they got a story about having a book of the law that fell off of a boat? And I'm not making this up. I spoke to one of them on the telephone. You know, like it was literally that. It was like they have a story that sounds sort of Israelitish and they look the way I want them to look. Therefore, you know, their haplogroups are irrelevant, or therefore it's possible for Israelites to have all these different haplogroups.
Exactly.
That was basically his argument. Like you're saying they're not Israelites, but they look like Israelites and they have a legend that I like. So you're refuted.
My thing is, even if they are, let's say those people are, let's just for giggles. That's just not the way to go about doing it. Like I don't, for the life of me, like at this point in time, I don't understand. You literally just took epigenetics and said that it changed a haplogroup. Do y'all understand like how detrimental that is to the work that we have to do going forward? Because one of the things that makes the Torah or just the Bible period so amazing is it is an epigenetic type work. Meaning if you do this to the third and fourth generation, now it changes how your kid's gene expression is, right? The whole concept is for us to become better people through understanding the book. And you just took that and crumpled it and threw it on DNA. You just sprinkled it on DNA like crack. Sprinkle some crack on them, Dave. Like, what do you mean, bro?
Nah, what you saying ain't none. If I renew my mind enough, I can change my haplogroup, man. I can go from G to E. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's no different.
That's
no different than Mike trying to say.
Elder
Mike would too. Elder Mike would too, because Elder Mike would hear that. See, my friend, all I gotta do is keep Torah, and now I'm a Jew. Why haplogroup E? Like that's what he would. You know what I'm saying? What? Come on, bro.
Hey, you guys remember you was having an issue with identifying the Middle Kingdom and distinguishing it from the New Kingdom, right? Well, he has an issue with chronology. So when you go to this page 464, he says a pre-pottery Neolithic period.
Pre-pottery Neolithic period. Okay, let me
watch this. Represents early BC times in the Levant, Israel / Canaan, and Assyria. The pre-pottery Neolithic period succeeded the Natufian period, as many scientists state that the domestication of plants and livestock skyrocketed during this time. How could the Bible verify this as being from the Israelites' presence in the land of Canaan / Levant? ? Then he gives
says simple.
Yeah, simple. Exodus 12 and 38. A mixed multitude went up with them also, and flocks and herds, a great deal of livestock. Hold on, don't say nothing. Don't say that. Let me keep reading this. Could the pre-pottery Neolithic period be when the Israelites started widespread livestock and agricultural practices? Let's get to the next page. Come on. Next page.
Where's Chris Harris when you were talking about anachronisms and whatnot?
Practices under the kingdom of Israel with King Saul.
So the Natufians were in the time of Saul.
Yo.
Correct. Okay, so now
it gets worse.
10,000 BC.
Oh, tell me you don't.
Yeah, it does get worse.
He gets stop, bro.
No, but the thing is, you think that's impossible, but what if they had a Stargate?
They had a Stargate so they can jump time.
Yeah, so
that star goes.
It's not as silly as you think.
Wait, can you go back, Yeshub? There was a sentence that was kind of strange to me. I want you to break it down for me. Can you go back to the next?
I don't know if I possess that power, brother.
I mean, so what are we 8,000, 9,000 years off right now? Something like this. Like,
man, he's
he says that the pre-pottery Neolithic period represents early BC times in the Levant. So what's early BC? What is that?
That's what I'm trying. Yeah,
time of Saul, the time of the kingdom of Saul. I'm not joking. That's what it seems to be
right.
saying.
Okay, so and that's what I'm saying. Right, and that's exactly what he's saying. So we know that's what 1040 BC, 1030 BC.
Yeah, early
Like,
BC.
what are you
Doesn't
doing,
BC
bro?
just mean before Christ or before common era?
Yeah.
What's early BC?
I want to see the next page after that, where because I saw it mentions Esau. I want to see if he gets into Ishmael after that.
Oh no, he talks about Ishmael, another part
he
of the
definitely
book.
gets on Ishmael.
But,
Y'all gotta like this.
So he's using the PPNA and PPNB skeleton remains to say that, hey, they found P there, they found H there, they found all these groups there, and he's saying that, hey, these are Israelites under King Saul, so that's how we know that these are Israelite haplogroups.
That's true. That is why he says that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though when it has that X there, it's meaning excluding.
Now y'all see why I say repentance is the key for all of this. This is just arrogance, bro. This is pure arrogance.
Bruh.
To
the
think
chaff
that
gets
you can
thrown in the fire, bruh.
To think that you can put this stuff out here. And it's like when what's the dude named Tony Stark walking to the Saint? That man's playing Gallagher. Thought no one would notice. Thought no one would notice, but we did.
The crazy part is he did put it out, and our family ate it up.
They didn't know no better. They didn't know no better.
He's on volume 3, volume 4 of his book. I couldn't even get through volume 1.
Yeah, bro. We all said the same thing, man. That's
This
crazy.
is why people can't eat up. Hey, yo, you can have multiple haplogroups. Like, no, fam. This is what I'm saying. Like, nah, the wheat got to get separated from the chaff, and the chaff got to go in the fire, fam. This is what it is.
I think people do, to a certain extent, know that we are different because they always say, "Oh, you know, you, Ivri or Yeshub or Shar, y'all are just trying to destroy the Israelite community. You're giving your heritage away, to the, you know, the Jewish people. You know what things like Teo said to us, and they even think we're white and Jewish. So, I think we have created a somewhat of a divide. It's just that other people who don't know us might think that we're BHI, like Jacob Israel on Facebook, because he definitely thinks I'm a BHI.
Okay, but your boy Ron Dalton just made a whole Jew, a whole Moor and whatnot.
Oh yeah, he's definitely
This is
wrong.
why. This is why more Anon. When y'all run into this dude anywhere, I'm talking about on Clubhouse, or if you happen to stumble into a room where he at, please pull his coat in front of everybody.
Do you understand, man?
Please,
is the spaceship still under the Sphinx, Ron Dalton, or did the spaceship fly away? We gotta hit him with those questions.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff is like occult stuff, man. Reptilian stuff, man.
Oh, Lemuria. Oh,
he'll get along with the QAnon people.
Let me see if I can find the reference Evie brought up earlier about.
Okay.
Because he actually had a source. He was like, "Oh yeah, here it is, right here."
Yeah, the Mongoloid aliens. There it is.
Yo, this is
my favorite part. Let's get into the gray aliens. Yeah.
Ain't this Dr. York work?
No, I was thinking the same thing, and I'm not trying to even like drop a joke on him. I'm saying it really does remind me of Dr. York Scrolls from the 90s.
Yeah,
I am
it
dead
really
serious,
does.
bro.
It really
That's
does.
why I bring it up. I'm not making a joke about this.
I agree.
Even the format in which the book look at the format.
Oh, he's talking about the midget
wording.
Jones that have the writing and what? Oh no, he
Look
went.
at the format of the writing.
I agree with Sean. Yeah, it even looks like one of Dr. York Scrolls from the 90s. Yeah, that's
Yes.
Nuwabian.
Yeah, 100%. Nuwapu all day.
Former Nuwabian became BHI.
According to Ron Dalton, the Han Dynasty is actually pygmy tribes. Okay, just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, I'm getting off. I'm not staying here for this. I'm not gonna keep. I'm not gonna keep finding out how silly this man is. Bro. Like, this is moving into mockery at this point, and I don't want to violate the law. Like, bro.
Nah, he violated.
Watch this.
The law
Watch
with
this.
He violated with this. He has to. His code has to.
Yeah, he violating us. Like he
violating.
violating the people with this bull job.
Let's get to the aliens. Let's read a little bit of that.
It says here. Let me read this part first. It says, now this kind of stone masonry work is also seen in ancient Egypt, but inside these caves were the skeleton remains of yellow-white pygmies with disproportionately large skulls. At first, the site workers thought it was the skeletal remains of apes or monkeys, but they realized that the ape world is not known for burying the dead, especially in tombs or caves. The size of the skeletons range from 3 feet to 4 feet, just like the pygmy tribes or the Negrito people seen all across the world. The only thing these
short.
Yeah. He says the only thing these skeletons had in common with the pygmy people is their small stature. African pygmy skulls are not disproportionately large compared to their body. Above, this is a picture of the Dropas couple, 10 years after discovering the caves of the Bayan, excuse me if I'm butchering this, Kara Ula area on the China-Tibet border. The Dropas, the Zopa people in the Han, sometimes named Ham or Cham or Kam. I never heard the Han. Anyway, that's a whole different topic. People were still found living in the caves and mountains. The couple, however you say that word there, 4 feet tall, and Wisla was 3 foot 4 inch tall, were believed to be descendants of the yellow-white pygmy people whose skeletons were found in that region. Unlike Chinese, Tibetan, or Mongolians, the Dropos people were very small in height and larger than normal heads and large, sometimes wide-spaced eyes. They had very little hair on their bodies as well, which is common in the Asians. And right here, he has a depiction. He says, above modern-day alien and an alien-human hybrid being.
Before you keep reading, I just want to know
they
how
had
he got a picture of an alien human hybrid.
How does he know this though? How does he know that that's an
And that was
alien
going to
that's
be
a
my question, Ibrahim. Where are we getting these facts?
This is
right
also
here.
very much like
Here's the fact.
Dr. York used to show all kinds of photos of aliens and stuff like that,
Yeah.
including he had a picture from the movie, the Predator movie. He had a picture of that creature with the with the crab like jaw, and he said it was like some alien from some specific constellation. Like he had a photograph of this alien.
You shoot. I'm afraid to ask.
D-Red, drop the link. D-Red want to come up.
Hey, yeah, I was gonna say that too. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all, bro. I'm leaving America. I'm not staying here with y'all, bro.
No, bro. If we gotta suffer it, you gotta suffer it with us.
That's right. You gotta walk this walk with us, Anon.
Hey, bro.
And plus, you disappeared for a while. You've been gone for a minute. This is what you
So
come
what?
back to.
Yeah,
you
bro.
come back.
Hey, y'all was supposed to be torching this, man. Y'all supposed to burn this up already, man.
Man, you know how many times I was on a Clubhouse with this dude and told him a new asshole, but he keep going.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I didn't
followers, man. I
didn't know that this was here. I didn't know that this was here, bro. Like,
all right, hold on. I want to build up to it, right? So he gives you the alien depiction. He says the alien human hybrids. Of course, he's saying that the Han people are alien human hybrids. But we're gonna get to it, right?
These are crash landed aliens, by the way. You know what I'm saying? If you know the story
hold on.
about these guys.
Hold on, man. There's the link right there. I just put the link in the chat. So D-Red was trying to get in. He can get in now.
Yep.
So back to the story, right? Story time, fellas. Oh no, go back. It says supposedly, according to local past oral history in Central Asia, centuries ago, the Dropas pygmy people were considered so ugly that they were hunted down and killed by the so-called Mongols, riding on horseback in that region. According to the many Tibet according to many, Tibet wasn't ruled by China during this time. It wasn't until the early 1900s that the Dropos pygmy people caught the attention of an English scientist named Dr. Carl Robin Evans. Dr. Evans carried out his own expedition to Asia, eventually making his way into Tibet near the Bayan Karaula area, only to be abandoned by many of the Tibetan guys who were terrified of the Bayan area. On the way there they visited the Buddhist Dalai Lama, who gave them some insight into the area and what lied there. Once in the village area of Bayan Karaula, Dr. Evans was introduced to the language of the Dropa people and their history from a man named Lorgan La, the religious guardian priest of the area. Lorgan La revealed that the Dropas people came from the Sirius star system thousands of years ago, only to be trapped on Earth during the crash of their spaceship in the 11th century AD.
And that is why and how you are a Hebrew, my Negroes.
Yeah, what does it have to do with Hebrews to Negroes?
That was going to be my question. In mitochondrial DNA for between Denisovans and chimps, there's Star Child.
Oh yeah, read that too.
This is where we need the clip of Jackie Chan saying, "What's up, my nigga?"
Man, bro. This is where we start to really teach about old Earth and young Earth, and either way it go, you don't need to be making these type of claims. There's other ways of explaining human existence. Honestly, bro, when I see this stuff, I just keep thinking like these are people who haven't been able to find any answers to what they're looking for, so they glomming on and stuff like this. Like,
No, bro, they found this and was cool. What are you talking about? They were like, "Yeah, this is it right here." Like,
I refuse to believe that I refuse to believe that he came across this and you know what I'm saying? Like he had to study other stuff and couldn't understand it.
I'm gonna start waterboarding cats in this piece. You know what I'm saying? No, he got his name on this joint, selling it to the people like it's the thing. No, fam. He's like, no, this is the one right here. This one right
doing
here.
my best. More, you
but I
know
gotta
what
ask
it
the
is.
whole panel this question though.
You know what it is when it's time to shoot.
Believe
More.
this, or does he think?
Yes. No, I think he really does. I think he really does believe this. I think he's one of
Yeah, I think the answer is yes as well.
Oh, y'all really believe he believes this? Wow, that's interesting. I kind of thought he was like faking it, but okay.
No, I'm gonna tell you. Like I've had conversations.
Can I sue? Can I hold on real quick? Can I sue him because I bought a product expecting that the product
I hate you so much.
I'm being serious. Like, can I get a refund or something because this book has nothing to do with the title?
Don't worry about it, your shoe. We're gonna take it out his ass. We're gonna wear him out from
Y'all got the floor, man.
Going forward. We're just gonna keep wearing him out.
I'll be honest. Look, now I'm gonna say this. I love you, brother Ron. Right. So if you come across this, you know I love you. I ain't got no real issue with it. If this really turns into an issue though, then we'll address it. But you got to do better, man. You an elder out here, bro. Are you an elder out here, man? You can't be doing this to our people. Look,
elders
bro.
are exemplar. Don't do that. Don't do that. Elders are exemplar, fam.
Yeah, no. Bro, listen, man. I got 20-year-olds coming up in this, asking us questions, coming across this stuff, man.
Anonymous, I'm not gonna let you talk to that grown man like that. No, he's quoting movies, my G.
Hey, bro, this man's supposed to be an elder. You feel me? Like, come on, bro.
No, this is why he's not, because he's quoting movies and taxing the people for it, bro.
Well, he's at least an elder in age, bro. Right? I know in age he's an elder, and so I'm just saying this, man. Like, I'm trying to be respectful, but this is horrible. Anybody else? I would be probably really obnoxious. Like this is bad. I didn't know that that's what this was. I apologize. Like that's why I've never quoted his work. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Not nothing against him. I needed more scholarship. So, and I couldn't get through the books. Like so, I really
so
think
our message to the youth is please stay in school.
Try to be the best you can be.
Don't be like Ron Dalton. Go to school.
While we talk, can you go back to the video, by the way?
Oh man, you want to torture us some more?
Y'all got me scared because I'm feeling like, what was Pastor Kelly saying?
I was wondering the same thing. Does he say anything interesting?
Yeah, he's on there for quite a minute. I noticed.
Hey, I'm not gonna get out here, yo.
He was a little better. He was a little better.
Stop.
Tonight's comedy night.
All right.
But y'all finna make me have to call people and really talk to them, bro. They're gonna be upset with me. Come on, man. Stop. What did Pastor Richardson go? Did he go as bad as Dalton did?
I kind of skipped over his part because I was more interested in the Ron Dalton conversation. But
I need to let you let that play, bro. I need to see what's going on right there.
Oh God. All right.
Married with the Israelites.
Hey, now go ahead and pour your three finger glass.
If that happened, because we know it happened, because the Bible says it happened, then we should see this in the maternal DNA of people today that call themselves the Israelites, whether they are living in Israel right now or whether they are living in Africa. And that's the thing.
What's the question, Ron? What's the question?
The question is,
shout out to the elder, bro.
In Egypt before the Exodus, the majority of people they were marrying were Africans, right?
Yeah. So
the Bible says we came out a mixed multitude. So that one's settled in the Bible.
I'm not quite sure where you're going with this. You're basically saying that the Jews of today are not the Israelites. I'm not going to argue with that. I don't want to argue with that. I'm just saying what I know from archaeology, right? You're on a different track, okay? Your evidence is not the evidence that I'm presenting, okay? I'm presenting the archaeological evidence. I'm not disputing with you that the Israelites didn't marry into Egyptians. Of course they did. We know that. The Egyptians even gave these Hebrews Egyptian names. We know that too. You know, so yes, they intermarried, and Egypt was a multicultural.
All right, so I want to ask the panel this: after he makes this statement, what else can Ron Dalton say? Like, shouldn't he just let the argument rest at this point?
Yeah, that should have ended everything technically.
Yeah, but you know that's not what he does, because whenever we confront him, he do the same shit.
He should at least apologize for taking the conversation in a whole nother direction for him.
Right, yeah.
He wouldn't be Ron Dalton if he did.
Exactly.
Spoiler alert, he's going to go on for like 40, 50 more minutes doing the same shit.
No. Yo.
Cultural state, country, civilization. Absolutely. No issue with you about any of that.
No, that's good because
like America.
I don't realize that a lot of the Egyptian traditions and customs and even the language mixed in with Hebrew traditions and customs and language is seen in the Bantu people like the Zulu, the Exosas, the Igbos, the Wolof, the Kikuyu, the Maasai, and a lot of sub-Saharan Negro tribes. And this is not seen anywhere else. This is not seen anywhere else. So we have to really pay attention to when we connect the archaeology, the anthropology, the genetics, the linguistics, we put it all together, including the oral history, to show that the people that we see we look at the TV and we see Charles Heston and the Ten Commandments and we see a white Moses and we see white pharaohs in Egypt. That's all false. It's all incorrect teaching.
Of course it is.
We have to address that.
Of course it is. That's white American filmmaking. That's got nothing to do with history at all.
Okay. So what we're seeking to establish is we're looking for the facts and the artifacts. Ron is saying basically that it all should be integrated, and we agree with him. We agree that right now people are splitting up disciplines in order for us not to see the entire picture. Okay, but we're on a journey tonight, so we can't stop. I want to introduce Dr. Kelly Richardson, and thank you very much, Brother Ron. If you have to go, we appreciate you. And back over to you, David.
Okay, right. So should we go on with the next section?
Yes, please. But before you move on, I have one from the audience that says, were these guys the enslavers of the Hebrews, Egyptian king Akhenaten?
Akhenaten.
Yeah, that's the guy. And he says Amenhotep IV, the queen.
Amenhotep IV. Yes, Amenhotep IV was Akhenaten before he changed his name to Akhenaten. Okay, now that is the end of the 18th dynasty, so I'm not talking about that period at all. I'm talking about the period of the 12th and 13th dynasties, the Middle Kingdom. I'm not talking about the New Kingdom. So no, Akhenaten isn't anything to do with the Exodus. However, he has an awful lot to do with the time of King Saul and King David. All right, so with the revised dating, that's when he goes fitting in, and that's why his hymn to the sun, hymn to the Arton, is almost identical to Psalm 104 that David wrote. So there is a cross-fertilization between Egypt and Israel in that time, but it's not the time of the Exodus, it's the time of the United Monarchy.
All right. Well, let's get back to the presentation.
Okay, so let's get back to sharing again. Let's do that one first. I will then select, and you should hopefully start to see things happening again. Are you seeing,
yes,
what are we on? Slavery now, aren't we? Yes? So, who was the Pharaoh who did not know Joseph? Because that's a crucial part of the story, isn't it? The time when all the sons of Jacob have died, Joseph the first and the rest of them have died. Then along comes a Pharaoh who doesn't know Joseph. What that means is that he was not around when Joseph was alive. So he has no loyalty to Joseph whatsoever, whereas the earlier pharaohs did have, because Joseph was the vizier of the country, the most important guy in the country, below the king. So this new king comes along and he enslaves the Israelites. So who is that king? Well, we have a fragmentary papyrus. This is one part of it, you can see here, called Papyrus Brooklyn 351446. And this one is a slave list. And it shows around 90 slaves that have been transported from northern Egypt to Thebes in Upper Egypt. And it lists them with their Semitic names, followed by the Egyptian name that's given to them by the slave owner. And we have in this list lots of people with Semitic names. And here we have a few of them on the right-hand side that are included in this document, like Asher and Issachar, both names of tribes of Israel. We have the name Jacob in there. We have the name Mahanaim. We have Job and we have Shiphrah. Now, Shiphrah was one of the midwives at the time when Moses was born. She was instructed by Pharaoh to kill the baby boys, if you remember, the infants. So we have the names from the Bible from this period and from other periods appearing in this document. All right, so we know that the Brooklyn Papyrus, by this time, the Semitic peoples living in Egypt have now been enslaved. They are no longer free people. They are no longer able to be free. When we look at another document, and this one is what's called the Royal Canon of Turin, it's a list of kings of Egypt, and this is a small fragment of it we see here. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines on it. On the left-hand side there, you see the names of the pharaohs. It's written in hieratic, but the names are translated on the left-hand side for you. So Sobek-hotep III, Nephhotep I, Si-Hator, who only reigned for about 6 months, and Sobek-hotep IV. These are kings of the middle of the 13th dynasty. So if Joseph and Jacob came in at the end of the 12th dynasty, this is sometime later, about 200 years later, 150 years later, when these kings were on the throne in Egypt. And that document you just saw of the slave list is dated on the document to the time of Sobek-hotep III. Okay, so that's the beginning of the slavery period you see on the right-hand side there. And so Moses was born in the reign of the next king, Nephhotep I. And then he became a prince in that time.
He comes back on around the 2 hour.
Joshua 24:6. Y'all freed your fathers from.
Around the 2 hour, 18-minute mark, Dalton comes back on.
Okay, they want to hear the pseudo Mike talk too. So let me.
Kelly.
I mean pseudo Kelly. Who am I confusing?
Dr. Kelly.
Is he Dr. Kelly too? Oh my God.
I don't know. He called him Dr. Kelly. I heard him say that.
From Egypt, and you came to the sea, but the Egyptians pursued your fathers to the Sea of Reeds. Oops. Are we back?
We are back.
Okay.
Back.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, nice to see you.
You got any questions yet, Kelly?
Not hearing you. Got your mic on?
Your mic needs to come on.
Well, I want to say apologies for the technical difficulties I was experiencing, and
right.
I don't want to ask a question that may seem redundant of what you have already covered, but
right.
I know that, for example, with the when we look at the 10 plagues, and I can't remember off the top of my head for us the actual papyrus that lines up with that.
Ipuwer Papyrus, yes, the Ipuwer Papyrus.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, can you share some light on that, because those are, like you're pointing out, timelines are very important, and many have been using poor timelines to try to discredit the historical things that have already been discovered. in Egypt.
Spot on. That's exactly right. The Ipuwer papyrus is dated to the 13th dynasty, exactly when we have put this Exodus now. So it actually is a record of the Exodus plagues and what happens when the Egyptians are defeated by God, and they take the possessions of Egypt, the treasure and everything. It's all in the papyrus, and they take the treasures of Egypt out with them into Sinai. So you're absolutely right. The Ipuwer papyrus is not dated to the time of Ramesses II. It's not dated to the New Kingdom. It's dated to the Middle Kingdom, which is where we've got the Sojourn and Exodus period. So it is confirmation of the Exodus story from an Egyptian document, which is very important.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then one last question, if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
sure.
The Sifra and Pua, because
Yeah.
can you expound on that as well?
Yeah. Sorry, Sifra, did you say?
Yeah.
Midwives.
Yeah,
midwife.
Sifra was the midwife. Yes. Well, she appears. Well, it may not be her. It may be somebody else with the same name, but she appears in that slave papyrus, Brooklyn papyrus, where we have 90 slaves, and most of them are Semitic, and they have. It says the Semitic name, he or she who is called, Egyptian name. That's how the formula of each of the slaves is written. So we actually have Zifra there. Zifra, she who is called, and then her Egyptian name. So the Egyptians are very fond of giving them Egyptian names. And it's not really different to what I would suggest that the Africans who came over on the slave ships to America were given English names. Yeah, and they were, their African names were taken away from them. The same thing happened in Egypt. The same thing. So the Hebrews were enslaved. They lost their Semitic names and they were called with an Egyptian name. And we do have an example of that, which is Joseph himself. Yeah, he has a name Zaphanath-Apaneah in the Bible, given to him by Pharaoh, and that is in Egyptian Zataneth Ipianku, which is Ipianku, or Ank in Egyptian is Aneach. Okay, so Apaneach. Okay, so his name is he who is called the one who lives. That's what it means in Egyptian. Okay, and Aneach, the one who lives. Why? Because Jacob discovered that his son, who he thought had been killed, was still alive. And he told Pharaoh, I never knew that my son was alive. So Pharaoh said, great name. I'm going to give that name to Joseph. His Egyptian name is the one who is called the one who lives. Okay, and he is the big vizier, the big chief, if you like, of Egypt in the 13th dynasty. He runs the country. Even the granaries at this time are called the granaries of Aneach or Anku.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, we do have a couple of questions. One specific question coming from one of our sisters. She wanted confirmation that they crossed a lake and not a sea.
Yes.
In other words, is it the Reed Sea a lake, or was it the Red Sea?
A very good question. Both the Dead Sea and the
But real quick before you play, I do want to say shout out to the guy for at least sticking to the conversation, because he didn't at least take the conversation left. He stuck with the conversation. Shout out to the guy.
Indeed, same.
Yeah, that's why I told you Kelly did a little better. He did. He didn't get in his flesh about this.
Round two.
So I was listening to what you said about the pharaohs of Egypt. We know that in the beginnings of the dynasties, that you had the Egyptians that were ruling the dynasties, you had Nubians that were ruling the dynasties, the Nubian Cushites, and we know on the walls of Egypt.
Absolutely.
You can see what color the Nubian Cushites were. The Nubian Cushites were very, very dark people that lived on the walls of Egypt. We know that during a certain dynasty that the Libyan Puttites would also. We know that Pharaoh Eoput and Sargon and Shoshenq.
Libyans. Yeah.
What these pharaohs look like, they were Negroid. They had woolly, kinky hair, and you can tell by looking at them that they did not look like Gaddafi. They did not look like Saddam Hussein. They did not look like Europeans. They did not look like modern Arabs or white Arabs. When you look at the Egyptians, a lot of the Egyptian statues, the ones that don't have their nose broken off, wide noses. You'll see that they have the features of the cranial, the maximum, the mandible, the forehead, the back of the forehead, and all these different things that point to a people that are living, that are the black people living in Africa right now. You can determine this by also looking at craniometry of the skulls of, say, Ramses and other different pharaohs of Egypt that they took out. You can check the skulls, the angles of the skull, the angles of the face, the forehead, the back of the sides of the head, even the teeth. And with these, you can determine who are the closest remnants to the original Egyptians today in Africa, not the white Arabs we see today that do not even speak or read or write the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. Matter of fact, their DNA and their ancient ancestry connects them back to Central Asia with the Turkish people.
Ivry, was that statement true? That modern Egyptians' DNA go back to the Turkish people?
That is 100% false. Considering that when it comes to a lot of the Coptic people, a lot of them got E markers actually. So I don't know what he's talking about there. Unless E is Turkic now, I don't know. Maybe it is. But yeah, like 80% of Coptic people have haplogroup E, and then the rest got like J and R and stuff like that.
Right? Did they not find E1B1B in one of the mummies? And they also found J in one of the ancient Egyptian mummies, right?
Correct. A paper showed that E was found in 2 J's. That's that paper titled the Egyptians didn't have sub-Saharan African DNA, something like that.
Yeah, so those people can't just be ruled out as saying that they came from Turkey. This is racist confabulation.
Yeah, Coptic people have little to no Central Asian DNA. Like there's no Central Asian DNA in them. They might have some Eastern European, not Eastern European. They might have some Eastern hunter-gatherer DNA, but not like Central Asian, no.
Yeah, E1B1B is a North African clade, right? Majority of the ancient Egyptian, considerable amount of modern Egyptians are E1B1B. And we know that with the Ibero-Maurusian and the Natufian, that E1B1B pretty much trekked across northern Africa and the Levant for thousands and thousands of years. At this point, it's insulting. This is insulting. Insulting to our intelligence, and also insulting to those people that actually do have ancestral ties to ancient Egypt and North Africa. Just because they don't look like you want them to look does not mean they don't belong on that land or they don't have ancestral familial ties there. That's racist bullshit jargon. That's what that is. It's not grounded in scholarship. It's not grounded in genomics. It's grounded in this blackology stuff that was taught to us by James Small, what's the other guy, Dr. Ben Buchanan, and York, and all those guys, and the BHIs, right? That's not research, you know? So everything he's saying at this point is just racist and wrong. It's incorrect. It's incorrect. You just want to push your little fairy tale idea about how everybody in Egypt has to be black. They weren't even black back then. You had ancient Egyptians that had the SLC2485 gene.
Facts.
So they would have had light skin as well. You would have had blue-black Egyptians.
Yeah.
And you would have had light white Egyptians. That's actually the truth. That's what the evidence points us towards. Anybody else want to speak on that before I continue this video?
You just trying to sell out your heritage issue. That's all that is.
Yeah, I'm a coon. I'm a coon.
Or as the people say on Clubhouse, you got the white man inside you.
I got the white man inside of me. I'm being paid. I'm a Rotacrucier. I'm a Rotacrucier. I'm getting paid by the government to take down the Israelites.
Illuminati.
Can you pass me some of them bills then? Shoot.
I know, right?
And it does with the original Egyptians, even though that they claim that their ancestors built the pyramids. We know that that's false because they have no tradition and customs. They have no language connection to the land because they speak in right Arabic, because Arabic is a Semitic language. The Egyptian hieroglyphics were not a Semitic language. And we know that the traditions and customs, the clothing, the type of dress, the food, the things that they carry, like the staffs, even the words for God, like Ra and other things, you'll see
Rohl
that
just
these are being practiced in
Rohl just
Northeast Africa, mainly like the Horn of Africa with the Somalians and the Bejas and the Afars and the Luas and the Okoli.
Is there a question coming at some point?
Yes, there's a question coming. So you
Okay,
said,
good.
Trevor asked, who are these people that enslaved the Israelites? And
hey, yo, look at the elder's face.
The question is, they were black people that enslaved the Israelites, because we know that the Puttites, the Cushite Nubians, and the Egyptians were all people of
Trevor
color.
has a
If you look at
secondhand embarrassment.
If you look at the ancient writings of Herodotus and others, they even acknowledge the Egyptians had black limbs, brown limbs. They were Negroid. They had woolly hair, and so we know that the Egyptians of old that were enslaving the Israelites, they were not Romans, they were not Greeks, because we know when Alexander the Great came in and conquered parts of Egypt and Israel, that was around 300 BC, was which one of the Ptolemaic era started. And matter of fact, Cleopatra.
Right now, he's showing that he don't know what the hell he's talking about. Because again, when we deal with the 18th dynasty, Amos, Akhenaten, and them and those guys would have had Eurasian clades, maternally and paternally. He has this idea in his mind that nope, only Negroid tribes, even say the Pygmies were there. Like, come on, man. These would have been the people that enslaved them. But we have ample amount of evidence to prove that the royal family, at least during the 18th dynasty, would have had Eurasian clades. And then even earlier dynasties, we see haplogroup H2. That's a Eurasian clade. So everything that Ron Dalton is saying bursts at the seams when we look at the ancient DNA and the genetic profile of the pharaohs and the royal family, right? This is just all hogwash point of views, right? U6 on the maternal side. Come on, man. These were Eurasian clades, man. The Africanity insanity must stop. You can't make everybody in history African to fit your sick narrative, man.
But I'm gonna try.
No, ain't none. You gotta bro. You gotta come back on the channel, on the panel, brother. You gotta see this, man. You gonna get this work. You gotta see this, man. And then somebody said in the comments, I see why y'all hating on old Ron Dalton. What is there to hate on? This dude is loony, man. He believes in aliens coming down and creating the Chinese people. Like, come on, bro. What is there to hate on? This dude bugged out.
Don't tell me I'm hating. I bought his material, fam.
That's straight out of Dr. York's books.
Man.
Scrolls from back in the 90s. That part right there with the Asians, that's straight out of his book.
Exactly. That's something with the black community. Oh, you got to be hating on them if you're critiquing somebody. No, we critiquing him because his work is not good. His talking points suck. He doesn't make great arguments, and his book is Walt Disney at best, Pixar at best.
I wouldn't even give it that, bro. His book is a B movie.
So, I mean, and his idea of ancient Egyptian people all being homogenous people and all black is just not true. That's not historically true, and that's not it can't be proven through anthropology, archaeology, or genetics. It can't be proven. So why is he teaching this? Right?
Because people are buying it, fam.
I was just about to say that money, the root of all evil.
Let me get this book real quick. I'm going to go back to this footage because I want to read something from professionals, not internet whack jobs. Right? Get this. For the brother that said we're hating on him.
Look at the elder's face, Dr. Trevor's face. It's like he's sitting there. He had his hand over his mouth like, You're embarrassing me, man. Hurry up and just ask your question.
I bet he's regretting letting him up there.
Embarrassing him with a smile on his face. You feel me?
Yeah. To the point, Raw was like, is there a question coming? This is what he does whenever I deal with him on Clubhouse. He talks and he talks and he talks. I ask him a simple question and he talks for like 15 minutes, yo.
That's
because
he's teaching you.
But that's because Ron Dalton surrounded himself with a bunch of yes men and people that worship him almost like what's that dude name that we did the critique on his book, Jashub, that he flagged our channel. What's that dude name?
Oh, the one, the rocks shall cry out.
Rocks Crowd. Yeah, the dude that wrote the book with Rocks Crowd. These guys write a book, and then they get followers, and these followers pretty much worship them to a certain degree, and so they'll sit at their feet and people act like he's teaching every time he talks. And so, that's the interesting thing about some of these personalities. And I just want to say,
with Ron D-Red, I would say this: having encountered him at least 4 times on Clubhouse, going into his rooms and confronting him, he has number of women blocking. He has number of women. You go up the question,
but that's usually the same thing with all these guys. I mean, if we talked about Dr. York, who was his personal people was made up of women. When we talked about the Horace Butler, that's his name, Horace Butler. Who was the main people supporting them? Women. When we talked about the young pharaohs, who was the main people supporting them? Women. We talked about the Polites, who was the main people supporting them? Women. We can keep going down the line. Who's supporting the Creflo Dollars? Women. Who's the ones supporting the TD Jakes? Women. So it's always going to be women because women spend money. So they always target women.
Hey, who's Weezy One Love? A woman.
So would y'all say that this is like a cultic personality then?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And so what ends up happening? Women, a woman that's seeking knowledge, if the wrong dude comes around, he can seduce her easy. You know what I'm saying? So
women
it just is what it is.
Women are like a sponge. The wrong, like he said, like D-Red said, the wrong person, the wrong brother get a hold of her, or a couple of them, that's it. They all in.
And low key, the scary thing is he is in Africa and he moved a lot of people out there. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of years. What'd you say?
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Drinking that Kool-Aid.
Don't drink that Kool-Aid.
Yo, this is from a book called Ancient Near Eastern History and Culture. What page is this? Page 144, and it talks about the argument of Afrocentric and Eurocentrics, right? And so I like to inform my audience that a lot of these racist arguments and views that we have are just reverse engineered Eurocentrics or redneck talking points. Right. For example, Israelites will say, "Oh, Edomites are white, or they the devil, or they this, that, and the third." Well, that stems from white racists saying that all black people were the devil, or they were the sons of Cain, and they were to be disparaged, blase. And black people use that they weaponize that and reverse engineered it against people that are white. All of it's false. All of it's fake. Right. Let me read this. It says, in the past 3 or 4 decades, there has been such much popular interest in the racial identity of ancient Egyptians. At one time, it was European scholars who raised the issue by proposing theories that Egyptian civilization was produced by the immigration and invasion of a dynastic race. The racial identity of these supposed newcomers was not usually stated, but it was assumed that they entered Egypt from Western Asia, not from other parts of Africa. To date, the idea of dynastic race in early Egypt has been completely abandoned. However, in recent years, the issues of the racial identity of ancient Egyptians have been broached primarily in Afrocentric works. And it brings up Diop, Van Sertima, and a lot of people get mad at me when I say these guys are outdated and pseudo. But this is why. I'm going to keep reading. It says, such works attempted to counter Eurocentric racist disparagement of African Americans and other blacks by arguing that almost all civilizations originated in Egypt and was created by black Africans. For a response to the Afrocentric claim, see Lefkowitz, 1997. Martin Bernal's Black Athena, 1987, 1991, 2006, though not truly an Afrocentric work, brought much scholarly attention to the subject. Bernal did not emphasize race, but he did argue that much of Greek civilization derived from ancient Egypt. Even though most of Bernal's thesis has been rejected by almost all specialists in ancient Near Eastern civilizations, as well as those specializing in the culture of early Greece, it has been widely used by Afrocentric scholars. Okay. It says, come on, don't do that. Don't freeze on me. It says here, why has the racial identity of the ancient Egyptians become important to so many people? The answer to that question varies, but usually those who ask whether the Egyptians were white or black accept two incorrect premises. First, the question implies the existence of biologically distinct, relatively pure races that develop in isolation from one another over long periods of time. Second, the question generally believes that there's a link between what they regard as race and cultural achievement, right? You hear a lot of people on the internet talking like that, right? Oh, black people did this and white people did that. It says the racial identity of the ancient Egyptians is important to many individuals because they want to claim early Egypt's accomplishments for themselves and other members of their own race. Most archaeologists, anthropologists, and historians usually try to avoid such discussions because they realize that the concept of race is a cultural construct rather than a legitimate biological category. Modern genetic studies have shown that only 16% of the variation between individual humans exists between the major so-called races. On the other hand, 94% of the differences occur within specific population groups. Differences in easily observable physical traits usually provide the basis upon which culture distinguishes races from one another. However, often used racial characteristics such as skin color, hair texture, the shape of eyelids, noses, lips, or other features often vary independently through space and over time. Furthermore, there is no demonstrable relationship between such physical characteristics and intelligence or cultural achievement. After 10,000 BCE, as the weather began to become drier, Egypt became a magnet for immigrants from North Africa, the Sinai, Palestine, and the southern reaches of the Nile. These groups blended with one another to form the population of ancient Egypt, which physically was much the same in antiquity as it is today. In the Nile Valley, physical types varied so gradually that the differences were perceptible only between places widely separated geographically. Skin color, for example, gradually changed from predominantly tan or olive in the Delta to an almost blue-black near the Nile sources. So just as I stated earlier, you would have had a variegation of skin colors in ancient Egypt. Wasn't all white, wasn't all black.
No, you just hate your people.
Yeah, I'm just a coon. All right, so I'll leave that there, and we'll go back to that video.
But do you want to let Wheezy One Love on or what?
Wheezy F Baby, you're allowed to come on if you want to speak, man. Let's get past this video.
Yeah, after the video, after, not now. Yeah.
Yeah, finish playing the video, Sambo.
That's Sambo.
No.
Wasn't a real Egyptian; she was a Greek.
Well, she was Macedonian, but yeah, okay.
Yeah,
But
so
look, you've had a bit of time to have your speech.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. Why is it so important to you?
Easy, because when you look at what you teach is archaeological proof. So the proof shows that the Bible is real. And if the Bible is real, the Old Testament and all the stories, and we have a people today, and we have Christianity, Islam, and Judaism that all are teaching that the Exodus, the children of Israel, even the Egyptians, whether they're using movies or TV or just religious teachings by historians, they're all teaching the wrong history in terms of who are the original people.
That's just Hollywood BS. It's got nothing to do with history. And we're not disagreeing about this. Calm down, right? Look, all I'm doing, look, I'm an old white guy, right? And I do archaeology, and all I'm doing is presenting to you the archaeological evidence for the historicity of the biblical text. I don't have any objections to what you're arguing here. We're not disagreeing at all. The only thing I would question is I've heard some people argue that the Greeks were black and the Romans were black, and I don't think that works. If you want to argue that the Israelites or the Hebrews, whichever you want to define them as, were black or were Africans, I don't have a problem with that at all. What I would question is, and perhaps you can explain it to me, is where did the Mesopotamian flood take place? Who was Noah? How did he get there? What if he was black and he was the progenitor of the black races? And I'm assuming that you're thinking that the flood was universal, therefore there were no other people survived other than the people on that ark, which is the Christian view. I presume that, are you Christians or Hebrews? What are you, Jews or Christians?
This is where they mess us up.
We are Israelites.
You're Israelites.
Israelites.
Okay, so if you follow your Bible literally, then you're saying that Noah is the founder of the race because he is the one that survives with his sons. Okay, and Ham being one of the sons who came to the Hamitic world or existed in the Hamitic world, whichever way you want to do it. Are you saying that Noah and the ark, the history of that, the story of it is an African story in Africa, on the continent of Africa, or did it take place in Mesopotamia? Which is it?
I'll let you continue, Brother Ron, since you're already on the road.
I don't like to use the word Africa because it was not a man named Africa that had children called Africans. We know
no, exactly. It's just a landmass. It's a continent.
Yes,
like that. Asia is a continent with Japanese, Chinese, and Indians in it. So it's a continent. It's a piece of land. That's all it is. Yeah, it doesn't define the people at all.
Let me say something. We understand that if the flood happened, if Noah had 3 sons and they all scattered to the earth, then everybody should have some evidence or some oral history about a global flood. If you go to the Chinese people, they say that there was a man named Nuwa, N-U-W-A. And sometimes they spell it different. And there was a great flood that happened. And if you ask the Chinese people, if you look at the Chinese text and you look at their languages, you decipher it, you'll see that they say that they descended from a man named Yefet, Y-E-F-E-T, and he had a son called Gomen, G-O-E. They say G-O-M-E-N. The Koreans say the same thing. The Koreans, of course, have the same kind of dialect and language as the Chinese. And so when you look at people, say for instance, and they have a flood story. People in India, they have Manu and the great fish. The great fish is Vishnu, but there was a great flood, and 8 people survived the flood.
Right. Okay. Fine.
For the flood, you have 6 people. You have Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and his wives. And you look at the whole thing. You'll see that Noah had a wife, so that's 2. And then each of the 3 sons of Noah all had wives. So that's 6. That's 8 people. Noah, his wife, and then Ham.
Well, where are you going with this? Come on.
Exactly. His monologue is crazy, yo.
Yes, we see in different civilizations they talk about the flood story, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is based out of Sumeria or Iraq. So when you look at biblical history today and religion, we are taught in the majority of the world that are Christians, Islam, and Talmudic Judaism, they're taught that the Jews today in Israel, they are the original people. And when you teach that black people are just, we're just Africans. African is not a term of an ethnicity of a descendant. The Jews today say that they descend from Jacob. If they say that they're the tribe of Levi or Cohen or Benjamin or Judah, that means they have an ancestral forefather. Judah being the ancestral forefather.
Okay, let's get on your territory then, shall we?
Hold on.
Wait, no, I'm going to have my turn now. You've had a bit of time. What about the Lemba? Okay, the Lemba have Cohen DNA. The Lemba have Cohen DNA. Okay, we know that.
You
really messes up
now. When you
Let me talk about this. Now, what the Jews failed to unveil because I've seen the genetic slaves of the Limber Jews. There's actually a South Indian lady. She's South African, but she's Indian. She did a genetic study and she broke down all the people that they tested, the Lemba and the Remba and the Venda. What they don't show you is that half of the Lemba, Renda, and Venda people have the Y DNA.
My thing is, I have to stop the video here. I'm gonna let it play out because it's about 20 more minutes. But he just made the claim that they don't show you. But if they don't show you, how do you know they have these other clades? It's because the information is publicly available, man. There's another tactic of the BHI. They always try to make everything conspiracy. They're hiding it. No, bro. Anybody can pull up the genetic matrix of the Limba and see that they got E1, B1A, E1, B1B, P. They got different clades amongst them. You know? So that's another, telltale sign of man.
Is it safe to say that Ron Dalton is a BHI?
Super BHI, like
Nawabian plus BHI.
Man, this super Nawabian BHI in BHI.
Pseudo special ed. I don't know about this dude, man.
Oh man, Ritalin. I'm gonna call him Ritalin man.
Yeah, that boy talk. He don't know how to shut up. That man asked him 3 times, "Is there a question coming up?" Like, then he stopped him. He said, "Oh, well, you had your turn of time to talk. Let me speak." This dude do that all the time, yo.
That's because he's teaching you. You gotta listen for 20 minutes.
Yeah. look what Jermaine Howell says. Unfortunately, no. Ron Dalton takes the argument and conversation so far left that you never get the full extent of David Rohl's argument on redating the Exodus, what Pharaoh that he thinks is the Pharaoh of the oppression, him digging into Joseph possibly being Anku, right? And him giving the explanation that you don't get to see that on this because Ron Dalton is so full of himself and he feels like I'm the master teacher. I got to teach him. Ron Dalton, sit down, man. You're not an archaeologist. No one cares about your little fanciful spaceship Star Trek book, man. David Rohl actually wrote a book about archaeology and trying to prove out the Exodus and give us some hints and clues who these people could have been, and giving historicity to the claim. You don't do that. All you are is a color man. So I'm going to give you a coloring book, and I hope you color within the lines. All right?
And not to be disrespectful to Elder Dr. Trevor, the same thing that Anand said earlier, I think we all pretty much said that before we even did this video tonight, this live tonight. He could have handled this better. You know what I'm saying? It's his interview. He allowed Ron to come and pretty much take over the whole damn thing instead of allowing David Rohl to finish up his presentation.
Ramal Yahoo's made a great statement. He said, but we shouldn't talk about Israelites in public. And that's the problem. They want to be able to abide in their folly, right? Do all of this BS and no one say anything about them.
Right,
no, we're
not
gonna
be
check
called
them.
to account.
Yeah, we're gonna hold your feet to the fire, man, and show the people, hey, man, what you're teaching is nonsensical, it's garbage, and it's not going to progress our knowledge and understanding of anything. I thought the whole purpose of this is to get enlightenment, right? Edification means to build, right? We're supposed to grow in knowledge, not diminish the knowledge. He's taking us back to the cave times.
He's taking us back to the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Well, he's taking us back. He's taking us to infinity and beyond. Y'all are not getting it because this nigga said aliens created Chinese people, and this boy got to talking about a whole bunch of aliens that came down from the Sirius star system. Know what I'm saying? And helped created pygmies.
He snatched all this information. he's snatching all this information out of CERN.
Hey, Jermaine Howell said he took away the opportunity from
Out of
everybody
the Large
watching that day from
Collider.
learning.
But we, like I said, when we look at like y'all talking about the Egyptian haplogroups, you know what I'm saying? Understand that, and we need the people to understand, especially at a certain time period in human history, like when they was talking about when she was reading that source, talking about 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago, there wasn't no white people anyway. As we know them phenotypically, white people wasn't no white people anyway. So
No, it wasn't.
you know what I'm saying? So we got to understand history, understand the history of genetics and the genetic timeline, so we can actually put things together. And again, just because you see we don't know what the certain Egyptian pharaoh's actual skin color was. I mean, we can say what the haplogroup was, but the haplogroup don't mean it. Just because you see one with R, don't mean that he's white. You know what I'm saying? But don't mean he's black either. So we don't. That just means we don't fucking know. We just know what his haplogroup is.
Mm-hmm.
And so we gotta always keep that in mind too when we read these read the genetic material or the genetics of people in ancient history. You see what I'm saying? We gotta keep that in mind, man. So this genetic stuff is not.
Keep color out of it too. D-Red, that's why we've been keeping color out of it. Even when we have these conversations, you always in these conversations. When I hear you talking to people, you keep color out of it because you know that the genetics might say something that might completely go against what you're saying. You know, so you just you leave color out of it. You deal with the genetics, that part of the ethnicity. You know what I'm saying? Instead of race, you know, you deal with the ethnicity, and that's it.
Yeah, because you can't tell what a person like. That's why I always use Nas. Nas is the perfect example. You see what I'm saying? So he dies 10,000 years from now. They dig him up. They say, "Oh my God, this guy's haplogroup I." Right? So you say, "Oh, he's a European." Well, if they look at other aspects, if they do cranial measurements and all this other crap, you know what I'm saying? They be like, "Well, he's black, but he's I." It's not making any sense. You see what I'm saying? So we don't really know. We don't really know what, you know what I'm saying, his skin color is from, you know what I'm saying, or what his quote unquote race would be, just because we know his DNA. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think a lot of, because the reason why I'm saying it is in qualifying that, because a lot of racist white people will use some of these pharaohs' DNA to say they weren't black, they were white. I've been on Clubhouse and these other little spaces where these people actually say stuff like that.
But Ron is doing it right now, so he's doing the same exact shit.
He's doing the same. He just the other
side. But that's why I'm trying to qualify that we don't know what race they are unless they dig deeper into their genetics and find out they got if they have all three genes for white skin. Then you can say, yeah, he was white. But the Khoisan have the LC2485 gene, they're not white. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of people.
They're just light. They're very light.
So unless they have all three of those alleles, then you can say, well, okay, this person is more than likely, probably. And even then, you got to leave a margin for error. You can't say it's definite. You have to say, okay, this person is probably what we would consider a modern European.
Exactly.
Well, not a modern European, but it
would have to express itself. Right. It would have to. Not only would you have to have it, but it would have to express itself.
That's true. That's true too. Yeah, that's true.
So
that's why you can say it's likely, or you can use certain terminology to say it's a high probability, but you can't say definite. You know what I'm saying?
You might have the allele. You might have the allele, but it didn't express itself.
Exactly. But people don't. I was arguing. I think I was arguing with Ngozi about that years ago when we was talking about the Yamnaya. And I'm saying, I'm like, yes, the Yamnaya carried a light skin trait, but they didn't carry the whole thing that was needed to formulate white skin. They didn't carry that. They had to meet up with other hunter-gatherer groups that was already in Europe, and each one of those groups carried one of those traits. And it took all three of those traits to come together to create the mutation.
Yeah. Somebody said something about depictions. You got to understand something about depictions. So, for example, Assyrians would depict everybody with long beards, right? And like big hook noses. Does that mean that everybody they encountered had those features? No, that's just the artistic style that they depicted people. So the same thing with depictions. Depictions are not definitive. They don't tell you. They're not photographs. People treat depictions like photographs. Yeah, you can use them as proxies, but no, not really. You can't be like, okay, everybody that lived in this period looked like this mural. It don't work like that. So,
by the way, after this live stream, I need to talk to you, Orthodox, more in D-Red, because it sounds like y'all had an interesting conversation I heard this morning. I want to hear about that when this is over.
All right, let's let it play
for a minute because we heard about
How you talking about that conversation we had with Isaiah?
Somebody, you're West African, you can't be an Israelite type fellow.
Well, we just got done beating up on Shlomo before this live even started. That's live on Clubhouse. So if everybody follows us on Clubhouse, I got the replay up there. Y'all can hear us beat up on Shlomo because he pretty much racist. There's no way around it.
Garfield showed up again and disappeared at the same time, basically, that Shlomo disappeared. That's twice he did that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's twice because he was in the first debate between Yeshua and Shlomo.
And I got a question for him. I still got a question for you. I know you're listening. I got a question for you. I got a question for you, Garfield.
But what I don't like is you got a lot of Negroes that will sit on these panels with these non-quote unquote black people, and they will literally sit there and let these people espouse the most retarded shit, right? Speaking absolutes. Now, no scientist speaks in absolutes. You see what I'm saying? That's unscientific to speak in absolutes. You see what I'm saying? And they will listen to people claim to be know all these great scientists, know all of this, know all these people, right? People he talking about, he know all these scientists. Well, ping them in here. They're like, nobody stopped you, didn't tell you not to ping them in here. You see what I'm saying? And then when people start actually bringing source material, source shit, then the motherfucking shit narrative start changing. But we'll talk about it later. But I don't like that. I don't like that, man. Like as a people, we gotta stop doing that shit.
D-Red, here's the thing. You my witness. When those racist Jews were trying to hound Rob Bourne, who came to Rob Bourne's defense?
We did.
Right.
When did this happen?
This happened probably March or something like that. It was sometime this year.
Yeah, I missed that one too.
I'm helping Rob Bourne. Now, people follow my channel, that I didn't got into it. Rob Bourne made hit pieces on Rob Bourne, custom out, all that. But at that moment, I'm like, nah, I'm not letting them jump on Rob Bourne like that. But guess who was in the room when this racist Jew? Hold on real quick. Let me say this. Garfield was in that room too when I was helping Rob Bourne. He's in the room. Yeah. So he's in the room while I'm dealing with a racist Jew. And the first time he was in there cheering for him. The first time. Second time he in there hoping, I guess, that that he get one over on.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the assignment. These niggas don't, man. And I'm gonna leave it at that.
But see, that's what I'm talking about, Jashu. Like, that's not cool because Rob Bourne actually got into that situation defending us. Because remember, they were saying that we had no right to be claiming Jewish Jew. We had no right to this and no right to that, no right to this. And Rob Bourne was like, man, y'all motherfuckers to shut y'all racist ass up. And they're like, we're not racist. We've never been racist. We've done it. And so Rob Bourne started reading from the goddamn the Talmud on their ass. That's how the whole shit started. And then Jashu, me, and a couple other cats, I think James and a couple other cats came in and started having his back. You see what I'm saying? And then, but it's always these Negroes that sit back and act like they don't have black people that are experts, even though we may be autodidacts, but we are pretty much, as far as knowing the material and being able to cite the material, find the material, and actually have the material, we do that when it comes to genetics. We do that. Right, exactly. We tight with this shit. So the fact that these dudes, I'm talking about these dudes telling me to shut up, let him speak, Negroes, bro. Like black people telling me to shut up and let this white dude speak.
They on his side. They think like him.
And I was like, bro, like you niggas is. And then, but the more he started getting beat up, you start realizing how quiet they started getting. The more we start whooping his ass and showing he didn't know what he was talking about, now all of a sudden them dudes start getting quiet because I come on. then Orthodox more come on. Then somebody else come on, and then we start rotating, whooping his ass. You see what I'm saying? And then once that happens, now he's quiet. He don't even want to talk for the rest of the time I was there. Then I just left.
Y'all put that ass in the blunt and smoked it in rotation.
Pretty much. Me and Orthodox, we would pretty much put him in a body. What that boy said in that movie, Karate Kid, put him in a body bag. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Isaiah. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you for the workout.
But Abu will tell you the same thing. Abu defends us with a lot of the AU. The UA. He defends us with a lot of them. He catches a whole lot of heat. You think tonight that he was on this channel with us and on the platform and being a part of this tonight, he not going to catch hell? This is why when Abu is around us, Abu is on Facebook or whatever, I don't turn a blind eye to Abu. I don't.
Yeah, shout out to Abu because he always keeps it a buck.
Well, he does. You know what I mean? There was one time, and he'll tell you, me and him had a back and forth on Facebook when he first went after Moore. You and him had the dialogue, the couple of lives on genetics, on DNA, and there was nothing for him to refute. And that's the whole thing with Abu that people don't know. He's extremely analytical. If you give him something that he can't find, if you give him something that he can't find a way to give you an argument back on, or you know what I'm saying, some nuance where he can find a way to maybe question the validity of the evidence that you're putting before him, he will side with you. He's gonna raise his flag and go, you know what? I have to act because why? He's so analytical. It has to be plain and clear to him. And that's what happened with the genetics, with DNA.
Facts.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you why they agree with those racist whites on Clubhouse. Why these Negroes agree, and I'm gonna throw Garfield in there because those same racist talking points they say they believe in. They believe that we were trapped in sub-Saharan Africa, that the only place that we can claim is sub-Saharan Africa. These same Black Africa is sub-Saharan Africa. That's where your ass belong. They teach the same thing. They are in agreement with that, man. How it go, Sean? Unless they agree. Y'all know what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
Sean, you the scripture, man.
Yeah. How can two men walk unless at least they agree?
Hey, thank you. And that's just that's the truth, right? They agree with those racist sentiments. They like to delimit and demarcate ancestry all the time. It's the same thing we run into on Clubhouse with these white internet Jews, white supremacist internet Jews. They believe that if your ass black, then you being a Jew is not a fact. You have no lineage or anything connecting to yourself there. Then when you present the DNA, hey, no, actually we got DNA tracing back to the Levant. We got material culture. We got things that we can show and prove and build the argument. They don't even want to have the conversation and say it's a possibility. Meanwhile, they be having J2A. They got haplogroup J2A, which is a Minoan marker. But they won't claim that legacy, right? But we'll tell you to claim a sub-Saharan African legacy, which they can't even prove with ancient DNA that we were in sub-Saharan Africa. But we can prove their clades as in Europe, Finland, in the Asian Sea. Right? We can prove that. All right, we're going to go on.
But here's the thing, issue. We don't even disregard Jews with haplogroup E as being Israelites. We believe many of them are. And not only that, not every African-American even has E1B1A. A lot of us have Eurasian markers. And they still try to say we're all from sub-Saharan Africa.
Some of us have J1M72 downstream clades of the same group that y'all accept as Jews.
Yep,
That's a
I know.
fact.
So I know like two black people with J, I think.
The first free slave African American population, they studied their genetics, and they say that these genes come from an isolation after they freed themselves. They found EM123, which is a known Jewish lineage.
Shout out to Yitzhak, Yemeni Jew with that.
We a blend of people, man. We're not homogenous. Majority of people on this earth are not homogenous. They're a blend of people. So y'all make these grand sweeping claims that don't apply. It's just racism. You just see a bunch of niggas, and it's like these niggas belong here in history. You ask them, provide us an ancestral tie to some group, right? Oh, you guys are slaves. Damn, we can't even get an ancestry. We just got to be slaves. Like, come on, man. Those are racist talking points, man. All right, let me play this video.
That we have E1B1A. If you look at the other half, the majority of the other half is the YJ1C haplogroup. You also see other haplogroups in there like L, like H, and like K. Well, who has a haplogroup L and who has a haplogroup H? Ron? Well, it's people in India. Who has a haplogroup K? It's people in the Pacific Islands. But the majority of the Lemon-Jewish DNA, if you look at it from the top two haplogroups that Lemon-Jews have, it's E1B1A, which is seen in black people, black Caribbeans, black British, African Americans, people in Africa, the Bantu people. Then the other half is J1. Well, who has the highest level and percentages of J1 today in the world? You go to the black Bedouins in Negev, in Jordan, in Sinai Peninsula, in Egypt. Go to Khartoum, Sudan. Start testing all the black Arabs in Khartoum, Sudan, and guess what? They'll all have J1C, but are they the Cohenites? Of course not. What they're assuming that is the Cohenite gene of Aaron through Moses is actually a gene of an Ishmaelitic origin, an Ishmaelitic Arabic mixed origin, not the DNA of a Cohenite or an Aaronite or a Levite. They got it all confused.
Whoa. All right. So you're telling me that Ishmael is not the son of the patriarch?
What does that got?
He just killed Ron.
Exactly.
He just
Ishmael
killed Ron.
J1.
If you're saying Ishmael is J1, then Abraham would have to be J1. Because where did he get that Y DNA
And the
from?
Israelites.
His father. So if Abraham's J1, then Isaac would be J1, and his children would be J1 as well. Ron, you killed yourself, man. Suicide.
He just committed, what is it called? Sudoku.
Sudoku, yeah, Japanese style suicide, man.
Yeah, sebuku.
That how you say it? Sebuku?
Yeah, sebuku.
Sebuku.
Yeah, now I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna give it to pimping. We're gonna go back to the pimping days. Stick yourself, Tony.
Yeah, he just sucked on Scholastic shotguns. What he did.
Now that's a person right there that's giving our heritage away, not me.
Yo, that's crazy, man.
Red Dalton is so silly and inundated with idiocy that he can't even see that that's a fallacy. And David Rohl caught it and said, wait a minute, so if Ishmael, isn't he the son of the patriarch?
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't even realize that he lost because he's still smiling. He think he got him.
Watch he go into another long monologue to try to cover up what just happened to him. This is what he do. Every time he cut him or he cut himself, he go into a long monologue again.
While he bleeding all over the place. Like, I'm not bleeding, but bleeding all over the place.
Man, anybody watching this, David Rohl beat the dog shit out of Ron Dalton, man. He tried
and was told about it was he was trying to be invited from the outset. Like, he was happy there was an American brother on for the conversation. Then he's like, I don't know, like, yo, what are you doing here? Like, what are you talking about? Like, why you you taking the conversation left? You know what I'm saying? What's this guy do to Constantine China with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo.
David Rohl even admitted that the Israelites could have been Africans. He has no problem.
Yeah. And all the family that's listening in the audience, please share this because we got to get this word out. Share it. Please share this video. We got to get this out. We've been talking about this. We've been going against this dude for the past 2 years or so. Has it been 2 years, Yeshu? About a year and a half, maybe?
Yeah.
We've been trying to get the word out. Please share this. Share it, family.
Watch them not share it.
Well, nah, the people in our audience, they get to share it.
Yeah, play.
Oh yeah, our people will share it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Ross
our
said that's
faithful.
psychotic behavior. Yeah, that is. Ah, man, that dude's insane, bro.
But these arguments got to get addressed in literature. You know what I'm saying? Because he's putting it in literature. Yo, that's crazy, bro.
Wait, so now I got to write a book on the genetic table of nations, and I got to write a book on Ron Dalton. Dadgum.
No, bro. You clear all this stuff up by refuting like the arguments like all at the same time. Like you wrap it all up in one joint.
Okay. I was about to say.
Like some people say have these arguments, some people have these, but this is our argument. You know what I'm saying? Like you do the whole compare and contrast.
Oh, I feel you now. All right.
Hey, Avery, and make the book about the title.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
If you cite a movie, if you cite Netflix, I'm coming for you, Avery.
Can I at least cite Bible movies?
Oh gosh.
That's a joke.
All right, let's play this, man. Let's get to these last 13 minutes.
Do with a Conite. Ishmael is not a Conite. You know this.
No, I know that. All right. So what you're saying is that the people with Cohen DNA, the Cohen priests, are not the same as the Lemba Cohens, Cohenite DNA.
I'm trying to tell you, there's no such thing as a Cohenite DNA. If that's the case, where's the Simeon DNA? Where's the Zebulon DNA? Where's the Judah DNA?
No. That's different. That's different. The Levites did not interbreed. Okay. They did not interbreed.
No. You look at Ezra chapter 9, verses 1 through 2, and it says that even the priests and the high priest also intermarried with the Canaanites, with the Egyptians, the Moabites, the Ammonites. Go to Ezra right now, chapter 9, verse 1 through 3, and you can see that it says that even the priests.
That would explain why they got J1.
Exactly.
That would explain it.
I mean, there's literally a book. You quoted this a couple of times, Yeshu, that talks about how Canaanites and Phoenicians kind of blended their way into the code. They would have had J1 and J2.
Wouldn't the priest would have had to have daughters who mixed with the with J in order for this Y chromosome J1 to show up?
Yeah.
Right. So okay.
Yeah, and then when it gets even deeper, Josephus pretty much was saying during his time, the high priest seat and the priest seat were purchased. It was people.
I was about to say this is where we get into. I didn't want to go there because it's like changing the dynamics of the conversation. But yeah, this would go into the people who bought seats, the principal men. This is how it was put. The principal men were able to buy seats, meaning the lofty, the rich, or those who came from families who had money. Principal men were able to
Bible,
buy.
The New Testament shows you that with the tetrarchs and the what's his name, Herodian dynasty, and then what's the other brother name with the G? I can't think his name right now. What's his name? Well, basically the Herodians, right?
Right.
These people would not be bloodline, Israelites, right? But they were in those positions. And then you had priests that was in those positions. It was all purchased and bought. So you would not see consanguinity with these groups. They would not all share the same common ancestors, right? That's why we tell people common tradition and culture and common experiences does not mean you got common ancestry. Don't mean that. You can absorb and adopt cultures, be absorbed into cultures. It's just that simple.
The Hurrians are the best example of that.
Right. The Hurrians are mainly a Caucasian people. They come down via the Caucasus into Afro-Asiatic cultures and absorb the cultures by killing the men, taking the women, and the women do what? Teach their children, the progeny, the culture, the language, and customs. Right? It's just simple.
I think the most crazy thing is that they literally say that in the books about Hurrians, they were known for adopting and assimilating cultures. So,
right. We're in an assimilated culture. We speak English. Our culture is pretty much Americana, right? We don't teach or live out the culture that our ancestors did in West Africa to the T. No, because we have assimilated and we amalgamated into American culture. Does that mean we don't descend from our ancestors in West Africa? No, it doesn't. That's a silly argument.
Even the priests intermarry with other people. This is a known fact. It's in the Bible. The question is that if the J1C is a Conite haplogroup, then that means that Moses also had the J1C because Moses and Aaron were brothers. So that means that if you can identify a haplogroup that identifies a Levite, then where's a haplogroup that identifies Manasseh, Ephraim, Benjamin, Judah, Simeon, Naphtali? There is none. There is none because what people teach they don't understand haplogroups. People that's teaching this Cohen model haplogroup is the J1C. They don't understand haplogroups. Haplogroups do not define one particular person ancestral forefather. It describes a people group that have migrated to different parts of the world.
Wait. Haplogroups don't define a person's ancestral forefather. Did I hear that right?
Yes, I'm already on it. God damn it, we got to do so much cleaning up after this dude.
But it's crazy because every time we critique somebody's video, it turns into a 4, 5, 6 hour video. Yo. These people, we got to straighten out so much stuff.
All right, so a haplogroup is a genetic population group of people who share a common ancestor on the patriline or matriline. That's the mother side or the father side. So that's exactly what a haplogroup does. Ronald, come on, man. This is pseudoscience, man.
His story changes as he needs it to change, yo.
It's ever evolving, just like Jacob Israel's presentation.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, I don't understand why people don't like us and they don't go after Ron Dalton. Like, come on, man.
Because they think that he's,
he's a high priest.
Yeah, exactly. Remember, what is his? He calls himself Levi something, right? Levi
Emphasis,
what?
Oh yeah, Moses Levi. That's his name.
Moses Levi.
Emphasis on the high part.
Yeah. He's smoking on that. He's smoking on that Dalton. He's smoking on that
Dalton pack.
He's smoking on that Sirius B.
Oh yeah. He on that Sirius B strand.
This is the reason why you look at in Sudan with the South Sudan Nilots, like the Dinka, like the Anuak, like the Shiluk, they have the Y DNA A like an apple. Does that mean that at the beginning of all civilization, all man? No, it does not, because guess what? The Pygmy tribes have the Y DNA B, the Y DNA B. But does that mean that the Pygmies are the sons of the Dinka tribe and the Nilots? No, it does not. So when you look at Y DNA, we cannot just say this Y DNA right here correlates to Levi and the Aaronites. That's false. That's false teaching. You got Jews that say that the Y DNA are
Trevor. Does he have his own? Has he had a show of his own at some point?
Exactly.
He's not addressed anything that I've had to say tonight at all. He's gone on his own little ship sailing across the ocean, and he hasn't addressed any of the things that I've said tonight. And I think that's such a shame, because he's obviously a very clever man. Okay, but he needs to address what we've talked about and not his own little game. Let's have something realistic about what we've talked about tonight.
Now, Brother Ron is not denying anything that you have said, but Brother Ron's speciality is to do with DNA. And he's opened up that one in answer to the brother who's asking about the ethnicity of the people. So
his speciality is DNA. His speciality.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man. Anyways, keep playing it.
His alphabet soup. He's a specialist in alphabet soup. He's a specialist in alphabet soup.
Bro.
Haplogroups, you can mix it in some tomato sauce and just come up with what you need. He's a funny dude, man.
If it's black, it's fact.
You know what I'm saying? But
good now.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Now, what are you saying, Sean? Say it.
No, I was saying, again, Dr. Trevor is not reining in Ron. He's not reining him in. And David Rohl is continuously asking him, like, yo, reel your man in. Let me finish my presentation. he just blew a really good chance of this man putting down everything. I don't think David Rohl would ever show up to Dr. Trevor's show again.
Facts.
Maybe not any, no black person.
Dr. Trevor talked to Ron Dalton after this and said, "I can't take you niggas nowhere.
Can't take your black ass nowhere." Need to get the strap for his ass. Where the strap at, yo?
Oh man.
Is for you to summarize what it is you have done, and then I will take it from there and summarize and close. Okay.
Okay. Are you all right with that? What, Ron? Go on.
What you did was great. It was fantastic. It was fantastic because a lot of people need to see the archaeological proof of the Israelites in Egypt and then the Exodus.
So he was
and all the different.
So Ron, why didn't you let him do that?
Exactly.
That's the question. You made it about your lunatic doctrine and how you think pygmies circumnavigated the earth somehow. Like, nobody wants to hear that, man. We want to see David Rohl.
Circumnavigated the planet and made pygmy babies in China.
You want to spew that nonsense when David Rohl actually has strong talking points that are backed by archaeology, right?
And that's
the reason.
Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
No, you got it, Sean.
And that's what we need right now. That's what we need. The Exodus story. We need that. And he came and just interrupted the whole presentation.
Now, Sean, you the Bible guy, so I'm counting on you. The scripture says, when the seed is planted, Satan cometh quickly to take away the seed that was sowed away in your heart. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
Can we say that applies to Ron Dalton here?
Man, yeah.
But the crazy thing is this. Imagine like you're sitting down, you're creating your presentation, you're putting everything together. You know it's going to be a while, take a long time for you to present it, like an hour or an hour and a half. And then some random person comes up asking you questions that has nothing to do with your presentation. Like man, because it takes a long time making presentations and trying to disseminate your information in a coherent way.
Yeah. Rudy J.
I feel kind of bad for him.
Brings up a great point about the Hasmoneans imposing Judaism on people as well. And it's even in the book of Ezra where it says everyone in the land became Jews. So, I mean, of course, they're going to have different, it's going to be a hodgepodge of people, not just a homogenous group. Yeah, that's what it is right there. Thank you. The parable of the sword.
No, you shoot. They're all Bantu.
Brought up, but this is the thing.
That was the purpose of tonight.
Hang on, there's a but coming. Go on.
But this is the thing. When we want to tie
this is the thing.
We want to tie it all together, we have to also use the other disciplines of science. We have to use anthropology, the study of culture, traditions, and customs. We have to use linguistics. We have to use DNA. We have to use hematology. We have to use craniometry. We have to use odontology. We have to use a lot of things so we can combine all these together and prove who are the real Israelites today, who are the real Egyptians, who are the real Cushites, who are the real Canaanites, because it does matter about these lineages if you read the end time good prophecies.
But that is not what I do. I am not doing that. I am talking archaeology and evidence of the locations of these people at certain times in history. I am not doing ethnicity. All right, that's not me. I'm just an old white guy. You know, I can't do all that. You're experts in that, not me. All I can do is what I know.
His internet is gone.
Good. Right. Okay. Maybe you'll come back.
Good.
But go ahead and summarize for us.
Okay. So we are looking at a revised dating scheme. In other words, we're saying Ramesses II is not the Pharaoh of the Exodus. He's nothing to do with it. Cecil B. DeMille got that wrong. Okay. Ramesses II is not the Pharaoh of the Exodus. The Exodus took place much earlier in time, but the Hebrew chronology is correct. In other words, the Exodus took place in 1446 BC. The famine occurred in 1662 when Jacob came into Egypt. That's our timeline that we're working with. That requires us to shorten Egyptian chronology by 3 centuries, because you can't get the end of the Middle Kingdom or the end of the 12th dynasty at 1662 without revising Egyptian chronology. And there's clear evidence that we can do that in Egyptian chronology. We need to revise it. Okay, so we start then with the premise that Jericho was destroyed at the end of the Middle Bronze Age, which is when the pottery tells us it was destroyed, and that is Joshua's conquest, and that's when we'll have to look for Joshua. Then we look back into Egypt to several hundred years later, and we find the evidence of the first settlement of Semites in Egypt, in the Eastern Delta, in the land of Goshen. We find a palace of a very, very high, important official, and a tomb there, which is a pyramid tomb of a Semite, somebody who was wearing a multicolored coat, somebody whose grave was entered, and the body and the coffin was removed and taken somewhere else. All that matches the biblical story. We have a journey, a route through Sinai, which is verified by inscriptions that are in Proto-Sinaitic, which turns out to be Hebrew. That is now demonstrated. We know where the Sea of Reeds was. We know where the crossing was. We have an explanation for the parting of the waters in science, which has been demonstrated. All this takes us back to Jericho and the conquest of Jericho and the conquest of Hatzor and the setting up of the covenant stone in Shechem. All that is there in the archaeology, so long as we look for it in the earlier period. And that's what we have to do. The people who deny the biblical story because there's no archaeology are simply looking in the wrong time period. That's the basis of the argument.
Wonderful, wonderful. I got to get your at least one comment. This presentation and discussion has been brilliant. I need to go now for some other reason. So the issue has been that in terms of the stuff we were talking about the nations, much of that information is in the Apocrypha, because the Ethiopian canon of the Bible, which was canonized long before anyone else ever put a book together, shows all of those details about where the nations come from and who are Hamites, who are Shemites, and who are Japhethites. That detail is covered in the Bible if people will look for it. Sure. What happened is that Brother Ron is looking at the big picture and saying, you know, these are the things that are missing from the argument, not just archaeology. It has to do with DNA. It has to do with this and that.
Well, I agree with you, but you can't expect an old white guy to join into that, because I don't know anything about it.
It don't matter what color you are. You have fulfilled your assignment tonight, and we thank you very much for it. You have dealt with the archaeology and the history, and you've even managed, which we didn't expect, to put some of that together with Bible and say that the chronology of the Bible is correct, albeit that people are looking for the evidence in the wrong time period. So you've done a great job, and to Yah we say thank you, hallelujah, because this is information that is needed by the general Israelite community to understand that the Bible is not an excuse. The Bible is not a lie. The Bible is what it is, the word of the Most High, our history. Someone said John Baptist was Yahusha, or Yahawashai, we would say, his cousin, and he was a Levi, yet Hamashiach was from Judah. So, you know, how you work that out, they're still related. And another guy says, what did he say? John Baptist then came. Okay. Why did Joseph's brothers not recognize him in Egypt? Well, that's easy. Joseph's brothers didn't recognize him because he was styled like an Egyptian. They're used to a guy with beard, dressed differently and speaking their language. The guy was all shaved because Egyptians shaved, and he was decorated and dressed like an Egyptian and did not speak their language at first. He kept his mouth closed and did it through a translator speaking in Egyptian.
Sure.
Someone said, Ron is in his element, on a roll and lost. I won't go down.
Did he say what?
On a roll, someone said.
He said he's on a roll and lost.
Wait, who lost? Run or
Run.
Okay.
He said run is on a roll and lost.
And lost.
Dang.
I'm ending on that, man.
All right.
2 more minutes left of that. It's over with. Any
That was a good
closing
segue
statements
to
on this,
closing,
man?
though. That was a good segue.
Yo,
to close.
what's this? What is that? Hold on. What is
Alphabet
That is a good
Pseudo alphabet
PTR.
soup, baby. I like that.
Brought to you by Skin Doctor.
Hey, boy, snuck that in there, man.
I know, right? Boy, yo, you got it. Boy, that was a good one, bro.
Oh man. All right, man. Round table. What do y'all think? Closing thoughts on the buffoonery that we seen from Mr. Ronald McDonald Dalton.
Closing thoughts are David Rohl will never end up on our show because of this.
Yeah, I agree. I think he pretty much damaged everybody with this. He probably think twice before he get on an Israelite platform again. I'll tell you that. Anybody else?
I think everyone likes a chance to sell books or whatnot, right? So if we approach him properly, and we're definitely have to be precise and correct with it. You know what I'm saying? Like we definitely got a few hurdles to climb. You know what I'm saying? A few dragons to slay right quick, but I think it's definitely doable, particularly if we, because again, he was initially excited, right? So I think if he sees some Americans that are approaching the thing with scholarship, that could rekindle the excitement potentially.
Well, any commentary on Mr. Dalton's performance tonight?
I don't even know what
Man,
to.
I think I already said everything, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think he said everything he needed to say for himself. He showed himself. He played his hand. I'm glad that everybody's seen it. I'm glad that we were able to expose a lot of, even in his book, on top of just his talking points tonight. Opening up his book and showing people, because people were shocked. Even people on the panel were shocked. And this is something we already knew because we was dealing with this for a minute. And so now the audience is aware of it, and hopefully they share the video and let Ron Dalton speak for himself. I think he does a good job of cutting and slashing himself up. Stick yourself, Tony.
Bro.
All right, man. I think majority of Ron Dalton's talking points were atrocious, downright disrespectful, off topic, and it showed to me that he doesn't understand the assignment. When you get people like that on your platform, you got every other day to spew your dogma and spew your rhetoric and your perspective and your worldview. When you get people of that stature that can actually share some information and drop some jewels, why not let that person speak and get it all out? And if you do got questions, it should be pertaining to his findings on Joseph, his revision of the chronology. Why does he revise the chronology? What is his reason behind that? What did he mean by Akhenaten and the kingdom of Saul and David should be contemporaneous? What do you mean by it? Like, those should have been the questions. It's infuriating that he made it about pygmies. I just, it's insulting to me, man. And I really think that guy, David Rohl, is going to really think twice before going on Israelite. He's probably going to pre-screen him and everything because of that. You heard what he said when he left. He was like, when his internet failed, he said, "Good." He was happy. He was like, "Man, great. I'm glad he's going. I came on you guys' platform. I gave a powerful presentation, and this man pretty much averted all the attention away from my hard work." And that man's like 70 years old.
And he
David
probably
Rohl
did
is old. He was 7 years old in 1958. So you guys do the math.
And he probably did it for free.
Yeah, probably was for free. Did it for the love, off GP. Yeah, you do that, man. No, bro, that was just tasteless, bro. Like, man, these Colts, man, this Colt mentality. I mean, I gotta go up here and show this guy off. Like, for what? Like, he ain't even hostile. When you said that, hey, they could have been Africans, he said, I have no problem with that. Why would you keep pressing the issue?
Right.
That was embarrassing, bro. That was embarrassing. I'm called for. I'm all for bringing the heat to people, right? Y'all know me. But let it be on someone that deserves it. You know what I'm saying? All right, anybody else, man? I'm done. I'm finished. I'm ready to close the show out.
All I got to say is I got to talk to Orthodox Moore and D-Red about this morning on Clubhouse if y'all got time.
Yeah, I got time.
I'm getting called to the principal's office. You know what I'm saying? It was me.
Yeah, we got backstage.
I did it, bro. It was me.
Y'all want that live? I can leave the show running.
I mean, we can go to the back chat.
Yeah.
Whatever works for y'all.
Yeah, we can go to the back chat. That makes more sense instead of just leaving this up. We can go to the executive room, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
But real quick, I do request a Reading Rainbow joint before we leave. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all.
All right, man. I'm without words, brother. I'm without words. This is crazy.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow.
Yep, we out. We serving them hibachi meals. We out.
Yeah.
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 Yeah.